3, 2, 1.
This is Comic Burrito. I'm Todd.
I'm Cole.
I'm Nick. And I'm Nick. I didn't say the and. I already messed it up. Turn it off. We're going to do it again. We'll do it again.
Yeah, we drop a podcast and we drop an and.
Yeah, we're just dropping everything.
Yeah.
So if you guys didn't notice from the intro, we are just Comic Burrito now.
It's more accurate.
It is. That is true. It is more accurate. I liked the running joke because this was going to be a podcast to begin with.
And then we turned it into videos because I'm so handsome.
Yep. We couldn't refuse the world Cole's mustached face.
Is that what it is?
Yes, that's what we tell. That's what we tell him.
Hey,
Don't worry about it. Oh, he still can hear me. Damn it.
Yeah,
Sorry. So yeah, we've got an extra special live stream.
Ooh, and it's not Poser.
It's not Poser.
Before everyone logs off.
poor guy.
Not Poser this time.
Hey Wes, what's up? Another Saturday with the fellas? Indeed.
Let some people filter in, yeah.
Yeah. So we're
I just
gonna.
gotta say hey to my friend Steve. He finally got a YouTube account, and we're excited.
Steve,
He got a YouTube account. He finally joined Google.
Yeah.
Man, dude, welcome to 2003. It's nice to have you. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. That's awesome. A friend of Cole's is a friend of ours, probably.
Yeah, he just sent me some Ice Cream Man books, so he's a really good friend.
Cool. Oh, if he's a fan of Ice Cream Man, he's already in. He
gave Hazel a Captain Marvel book for her birthday.
I don't know if
cool.
he's a fan, but he sent me some.
Oh, maybe he's not a fan, so he sent you his.
I think he just checked his local shop, right, Steve? Or do you read it, Steve? Have you read the good news that is Ice Cream Man? Is that
He's a big fan of horror movies.
Is that too close?
Oh, horror movies. Check out AWA's lineup if you're into horror things.
I've been sending him those recommendos.
Cool. I would highly recommend Hotel, Old Haunts, and Red Border.
Captain Comics is in.
What up, Captain Comics?
Captain.
And Mermaids. Mermaids and Mermen, all welcome here.
So, should we...
Yeah, let's talk about what we got.
Should we do it? I feel like I'm just stalling at this point. And
well, let's see what we got cooking. Yeah.
People can come in.
Yeah.
So... We're going to be doing an interview with David, and now I'm already blanking. We went over
Pepose.
David Pepose, who has done. You may have heard of him from
Spencer and Locke.
Spencer and Locke. I was trying to think of the other one that
Going to the Chapel.
Going to the Chapel, and he has a huge Kickstarter right now that is just going absolutely insane. So
it was funded in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it's only driving him slightly insane, so it's a good combo.
It's not open.
Are you going?
Am I going what?
Oh no, I didn't know if your thought was still trailing.
No.
Okay. Yeah, he's got a Kickstarter going off. We will put the link up in the comments. You should hop on board because if you've read his other things, Spencer and Locke, Going to the Chapel, this thing's going to be a banger. I am going to try my best and not try to get spoilers because I've read the first little part of the OZ and I need that in my life.
And it's all on the Kickstarter too. So if you go to that, you can read that preview too.
Oh no, I get why it's fully funded because I need the rest immediately. So let's bring on our guest, David Pepose. I'm assuming I'm saying that right too.
Yes.
There we go. Hey!
You got it right. Thank you guys so much for having me and for the lovely introduction.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm really excited to chat with you guys about my new Kickstarter, the OZ. This is a book that's been in the works for a very long time, and it's a huge relief to be able to finally talk about it. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I am hooked. I am. Everybody go check this out. Yeah. Oh man, what a cliffhanger! Holy crap!
Thank you. We're doing a double-sized. We're doing double-sized issues for all of our. This is going to be the first of 3 Kickstarter campaigns, which will wrap up the series. Although, if the interest is there by the end of the series and our bandwidth is there, there could be more adventures. But yeah, we're doing a double-sized issues. And so this 11-page preview is just kind of the tip of the iceberg. This is, if you think it's wild now, wait till you see what happens to Dorothy when she winds up in the Land of Oz.
So what?
Yeah, I know.
Well, hold on. What? Because I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves. What would be like your like little synopsis of what it is?
Sure.
For those that don't know what it is and haven't read the previews. Sure.
So the OZ is like what if Mad Max and the Hurt Locker took place in the Wizard of Oz. We've recontextualized Dorothy Gale killing the Wicked Witch of the West as something like a botched regime change. And so when she clicked her heels 3 times and went back to Kansas, she inadvertently left Oz in this power vacuum that left the country spiraling into years of civil war. So our story picks up a generation later with Dorothy's granddaughter and namesake, who's a disillusioned Iraq war veteran. And, this new Dorothy, she's come back from her time overseas with some real trauma and some real guilt and some real scars. And she's trying to put the pieces of her life back together in small town Kansas. Unfortunately, when a tornado strikes, our new Dorothy finds herself in the war-torn Land of Oz. So she's going to have to navigate her past, her grandmother's legacy, not to mention navigate her grandmother's former friends, if she hopes to survive the occupied zone. Or as the locals call it, the OZ.
This old story, just rehashing this idea.
A tale as old as time.
Yeah, the classic Oz story.
Yeah.
Wow. No, that's amazing. I love it because I'm a really big fan of Wizard of Oz, and I like a lot of the iterations. And I really love how different this is. It is a really great reimagining of a really interesting idea. Like, what if it all it's really happy at the end of Wizard of Oz, but then what if it all just goes to shit?
Yeah. Well, for me, I always whenever I do, this is my second sort of pop culture parody, riff, remix, whatever you want to call it, pastiche, homage. But for me, I never want to do any of these unless the original source material kind of backs up my thesis. And, with Spencer and Locke, which was what if Calvin and Hobbes grew up in Sin City, we kind of reimagined the sort of Calvin and Hobbes dynamic as a more sinister kind of symbiosis. That it's a hallucination in response to very deep-seated childhood trauma. And for the OZ, it was very similar. Dorothy kills the Wicked Witch and then splits. And, if you've ever seen the Judy Garland film or if you've ever read any of the L. Frank Baum novels, they wrap it up pretty neatly. And yet I grew up during the invasion of Iraq. I was in high school when that happened. And I can tell you that it would have more in common with that. It would be more like Baghdad. It would be more like Game of Thrones. That's the thing with these despotic figures is they don't just rule through fear and power, but through control. They've got their tendrils and everything. And
it's the Empire in Star Wars.
Yeah.
You fell this empire. What the hell happens after that? That's society.
Yeah. It's sort of, you knock down one domino and suddenly dominoes are falling all over the place. And you'll find that there's some substantial fallout to even the best of intentions. And that's kind of where our new Dorothy finds herself in the OZ.
Yeah, I love the like accessibility of having something familiar, but with such a big twist on it that it's still with Spencer and Locke. It's not like reading Calvin and Hobbes at all. It's very much an original story, just with all those undertones of familiarity to kind of hold you in.
Right.
That's what I really liked about that book.
Thank you.
It was awesome.
So of the 3 main people from Oz, between the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the lion.
Mhm.
Which one did you have the most fun like reimagining in this type of a
Oh
setting?
man, it's tough because I mean I love them all. You know, I have the feeling that it's not going to be a surprise that I wear my heart in my sleeve with the Tin Man. You know, he's going to be the fan favorite in the same way that Spencer was the fan favorite in Spencer and Locke. You know, he's there from the jump. He's there till the end. And you know, his design is just so cool. Ruben Rojas did such a tremendous job with the Tin Soldier. But you know, each of these characters, I and this is part of the reason why I enjoyed digging into the Wizard of Oz the way that I did, is that all these characters, they're very strong archetypes. They've got very strong visuals. They've got very strong desires. They've got very strong personalities, and they got very strong and clearly defined character arcs. And the thing is that, you know, any one of these characters by themselves could be self-sustaining, but then you put them all in the same room together and sparks start to fly. So, you know, the Scarecrow, for example, you know, was a really interesting character to dig into, in that, you know, he's the guy who wanted a brain. He wanted to be smart. And I think in the intervening years, he has come to realize that being the smartest person in the room doesn't mean you have all the answers. Sometimes it just means you're the first one to realize just how horrifically screwed everything is. And at the same time, you know, if you've seen Elon Musk, you know, anybody who calls themselves a genius, it's wrapped up in ego. And so what happens to this guy who keeps going back to the Rubik's Cube and he can't fix it, he can't solve it? What does that do to this guy? Like, how does it kind of twist him? I think he's a very complex character in this book, and I think readers' relationships with the Scarecrow will evolve a lot, from our first issue to our last. The Lion was the challenge. It took me a little bit to get his arc set in stone, and once I figured it out, it all kind of clicked. He and Dorothy have a lot in common, in that both of their stories are about legacy. You know, for the Lion, it's kind of like you have these ideals from the past, which is we always look at with these rose-colored glasses, but you know, then you get dragged through the war and the muck and the compromises and the pain and the heartache, and you kind of you find yourself thinking like you don't recognize yourself anymore, and you start saying like, you know, were those ideals, were they even real? Like, can we go back to them, or have we muddied the waters too much for this? You know, the Lion wanted courage, but how does that calculus change when you're not just fighting for yourself anymore? What happens when you become the king of the animal kingdom? How does that calculus change?
So does Dorothy and the Lion have like a veterans, like we both have seen shit kind of connection then?
Well,
where they line up?
They've, I mean, the thing is they've all seen shit. I mean,
that makes sense.
So Dorothy will certainly have a kinship in that regard.
Does that help her when and you don't have to get into details if I ask too much, but I'm assuming this helps her having this mind frame going in. It's not an unfamiliar, even though it's an unfamiliar land.
Yeah,
what's going on isn't unfamiliar to her, so she kind of has like a weird footing where she's like, this is almost normal, even though there's flying monkeys. This all makes sense.
Absolutely. Yes.
Whereas Dorothy was like, everything was like OG Dorothy. The whole world was magical and it was beautiful, and she just it's Technicolor.
No, I think, you know, you hit it right on the head. Is that Dorothy, by virtue of her training and by virtue of what she's experienced, you know, she definitely sees Oz as almost like a battlefield she never really left. And you know, some of the more fun moments of the book for me is seeing where that fantasy and that military element collide. You know, the land of Oz has teeth now, but Dorothy sees that as a weapon to defend herself and to defend those around her. And so, you know, you wouldn't see the Wizard of Oz's balloon as a platform for a Halo drop, but she would. And those kinds of little mashups have been particularly fun to write in this book. And I should say, like, I've written the whole series is written. So we're hard at work on drawing the second installment now. But I'm very happy with kind of how naturally that fantasy and war, the genres they really meshed well. And I think it speaks to the depth of the mythology and continuity that Baum created over the course of 20 novels with your Wizard of Oz series.
The hard-hitting questions coming from chat.
Yeah.
How crazy will the flying monkeys be in this version of Oz?
Very, very. That's
we got a little preview of them.
Yeah, we get to
I
see
think
it
it's
on
the first page, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say
he's
I think he's on our second page of the book. We see
the
winged monkeys, and they are not fun. Let me tell you, I in particular, I loved that imagery because they fear neither gravity nor Darwin. That
needs to be on like a crest or shield for them. That's awesome. Fear neither gravity nor Darwin. I love that.
The fact that like monkeys already can do serious damage to you, and then add flying and add explosives and add weapons to the mix. Yes, Dorothy's gonna have her hands full with these winged monkeys. Ruben sure knows how to draw the hell out of some winged monkeys. So yes,
awesome.
you will get your fill of that very soon, I promise.
So this might be a spoiler, but do they throw poop or not?
No poop throwing.
Okay.
They're too civilized now at this point. Some sentient thought.
They've got stronger things than poop. So they're
bandoliers of things.
They're dealing with heavier arms than feces right now. So yes, no poop throwing occurs in this book.
Cole's out.
But Cole canceled the Kickstarter. Sorry.
Whatever you do in the comfort of your own home, I can't judge.
Cole's like, but can I buy a commission?
Yeah, of them throwing poop.
Can you get a sketch cover?
A poop sketch cover. Got it. All right, I'm writing down notes.
That's not a first.
I will say I really dig this variant. I just keep looking at the Kickstarter and stuff. Tell us a little bit about the Kickstarter. This was your first Kickstarter, right?
Yes, very first Kickstarter.
And it's very successful.
I couldn't be more blown away and more grateful with the response to the Kickstarter. I've been thinking about doing a Kickstarter for a long time. I'm friends with a lot of the Los Angeles comics creators out here. A lot of them have had success on Kickstarter. I'm friends with Charlie Stickney from White Ash, who's kind of the original comics Kickstarter success story. My friend Rylan Grant just completed his Kickstarter for a book called The Jump. Russell Nahelty has like a laundry list of projects, including Ichabod Jones and Cthulhu's Hard to Spell. Pat Shand, who, granted on the other side of the country, has like a whole cottage industry of Kickstarter books like Destiny New York and its sort of spin-off titles,
which is excellent. Destiny New York is
excellent. It's excellent.
So
talking with all of them, they've all been kind of press ganging me for the better part of a year, saying, you really should try Kickstarter. And the thing that kind of tipped me over the net was, there's some people that buy their books primarily at a comic shop or on Amazon or Comixology, and some people who buy them primarily at cons. That stands to reason. Then there are people who primarily buy their books on Kickstarter. And that's a whole demographic that I'd done zero outreach for in years. So I knew I needed to correct that. And meanwhile, even in the best of times, the acquisitions pipeline for traditional publishers can be chaotic. People's attention gets grabbed, other books pop up, catastrophes happen. It can be a very hurry up and wait situation. And that was before the pandemic. Once the pandemic hit, a lot of publishers were staggering their release schedules. They were narrowing their acquisitions.
Digital only.
Yeah, going digital only. And so I had spoken with publishers about this book, and they were very interested. And then the conversation would lull for a couple months, and then we'd start the conversation right from the beginning. It was like Groundhog Day. And I realized with the pandemic, I could just solve one problem with the other. I could give the OZ a home, and I could introduce myself to the Kickstarter community with my like A plus, like my A game. And I think it really feels like a leap of faith rewarded. You believe in the books, you believe in your team, but to see the rest of the world believe in it in such an overwhelming fashion, it's something I will always treasure. You spend all your life loving comics, and the last week and a half, 2 weeks, comics have really loved me back, and I couldn't be more grateful for it.
Yeah, we got 17 days to go yet. But
and it's very back to we're looking at stretch goals now.
We're looking at stretch goals. Right now, our latest stretch goal is speaking of the Winged Monkeys.
The Winged Monkey Squadron?
Yeah, we've got a sticker for that that I put together with Ruben Rojas's artwork. And so Monkey See, Monkey Doom. When we hit our next stretch goal, all physical backers will get this sticker. It's already built. So, it's just a matter of figuring out how many more I have to get.
That's awesome.
Well, I should say that too, that on a lot of things I'm seeing with the different pledges that it includes like PDFs to Spencer and Locke and a few of your other books that kind of come packaged all together with it. Yeah.
So we've got the first issue of Spencer and Locke and the first issue of Go Into the Chapel on every single tier. We get PDFs of that just for people who aren't aware of all of my work. We get to introduce you to my work. And it was also my way of, I want to make sure that everybody feels like they're getting value. Everybody's getting bang for their buck. I know that Kickstarter can feel like a risk for a lot of people. And there are a lot of people who have backed our campaign that have never backed a Kickstarter before. Or maybe it was their second Kickstarter, if they joined with Scott Snyder's Kickstarter that launched the same day as ours. So I want to make sure that we show everybody, hey, there's plenty of there's a lot for you here. For $10 you get 44 pages of the OZ plus 44 pages of Spencer and Locke and Go Into the Chapel combined, plus our digital comics extravaganza, which is going to be a dozen PDFs from a dozen indie comics creators. So just for $10, you're getting like hundreds of pages of material.
Yes, plus, as a digital reader, that makes me very happy.
Yeah. For $15, you if you're a process junkie, you also get Ruben Rojas's raw inks and Whitney Kogar's untouched colors. So, there's a lot that you get, even just when you're going digital only. But then once you go into print, we've got 4 amazing covers for this book. Ruben Rojas's main cover is just outstanding. But we've got Mon House coming back from Spencer and Locke and Go Into the Chapel. He did a Winged Monkey cover. We call it our Death from Above cover. Rio Burton did a movie poster style cover. We call it Apocalypse Oz. And then
that's a Nick thing right there. He loves his movie. He loves his movie covers.
Is that the one where the monkey's on the gun?
That's Mon House's. Yeah, that's the yellow and red one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually did the colors on that cover. So
cool.
I was just gonna say the colors I think are my favorite part.
I have a lot of opinions about colors, so
I'm looking at that one now too.
Oh dang!
You see that one?
Oh my god! Oh,
I'm pretty sure I like all 4 of these covers.
Yeah, they're terrific.
What's the one that gets you all covers?
There's a tier that'll get you all 4 covers, and actually that tier, it's basically you are spending for 3 covers and getting the 4th one free. We're trying to sort of I love that cover. That's Mon House's cover. You'll see the next cover is from Rio Burton, and then Kenneth Wagnon has our Akira inspired cover. We call it our hit and run cover.
Oh,
it is bonkers. I love that cover so much. When Kenneth sent me that, the first thing I asked him was how much for the original. So I have that in my apartment now.
Nice.
It's just we're really working with just an A+ team. What I love so much about working with my fellow collaborators in the OZ is we all egg each other on. We're all so impressed with each other's work that it inspires us to kind of up our game.
That's
and
cool.
So, Ruben is always really excited when he sees my scripts. Whitney is then really excited when she sees Rubens inks. I marathoned 6 issues on the strength of Rubens inks in a row, which I don't usually do. DC Hopkins sees all this amazing work that Ruben and Whitney are doing, and it just inspires him to be even more deliberate and considerate than he usually is on these books. And so, yeah, it's a really nice symbiosis, and it really is helpful for me also getting variant cover artists because they see the passion that we put into these books, and they are so excited and so enthusiastic to join us. And we couldn't be more thrilled.
Awesome.
Oh, we got there we go. It's not just David saying it. We've got our people saying it too.
Thank you.
Is that your first attempt at colors? Have you been doing colors beyond that?
So what I got my start as an intern at DC Comics. I worked on Final Crisis. I worked on Batman R.I.P., Jeff Johns' Green Lantern. So the thing that really
nobody here likes Green Lantern at all.
Yeah, nobody.
He's like the biggest Green Lantern fan.
Whole world.
I was working on the it was Rage of the Red Lanterns and then Green Lantern Secret Origin. So they really instilled in me that comics art makes or breaks a comic. Well, colors make or break your art. So I have a lot of very strong opinions about colors. I'm very, very picky with my colors and my colorists. I even took a class with Chris Sotomayor over at Comics Experience on comics coloring, just so I could have a little bit more of a handle on it. So I know enough to be a decent art director. And because I've worked very intensely with my colorists on Spencer and Locke and going to Chapel and now the OZ, I feel like I'm in my wheelhouse a decent amount. I know enough to have to that I could color a Mon House cover if I needed to. And I've done it a couple of times before when we were running right up to that deadline, but not enough to do my own pages because I would drive myself crazy.
Right.
Did you learn any chaos magic from Grant Morrison when you were doing the Batman RIP stuff?
No, he did not come into the office. And I, in fact, distinctly remember him being super late on his script. So I don't think he was planning on coming to the offices anytime soon. No, I love Grant. His JLA run is like seminal to me. I love that book. Yes, but didn't get a chance to meet him. I think I met Peter Tomasi when I was there.
Cool.
Really lovely guy. I remember handling early J.H. Williams artwork for that Batwoman, his first Batwoman arc. That's how long it was in process. Was I was handling pages of that in 2008.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was scanning those pages early on.
2008.
And I think that Batwoman arc started coming out in, what was it, 2009, 2010?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Holy crap. I mean, the art's amazing.
Yeah. I did not know what history I had in my hands at that moment.
Wow. But, yeah.
Yeah.
What DC character would you want to like take the helm of if you could write for one of them? Nice.
Ooh.
Shazam.
Cool.
Billy Batson is my all-time bucket list superhero character. I love Spider-Man, but I would be hesitant to write a bunch of Spider-Man. Like I could write like little shorts for Spider-Man, but
it's okay. No one ever is very opinionated about Spider-Man. People, you'll never get hate mail or anything over Spider-Man.
Billy Batson, I could write for 10 years. I could write Shazam for 10 years. Awesome. So yeah, I love the character. It breaks my heart that he's not front and center of the DC universe because I see it. And fingers crossed. They'll let me tackle Billy Batson one day.
Yeah, he's easily one of those characters that could be the heart of anywhere he's at. Like I agree. Shazam is special, and it's nice when he gets featured.
Yeah,
But
no,
good to know.
definitely one of my favorites. So
That's
yes.
awesome. Gearing back away from DC, because
Sure.
we're very strong DC guys. Like that's our wheelhouse. Like if we all have our things that we like, but where we all find like centering is DC. I'm GL. They like a lot of the Bat guy stuff. He's fine. No, I'm just kidding. I love him too. But what did you see it, or was there a big difference between the creative processes between like something like Spencer and Locke and the OZ, since they kind of their homages pulling from other things and like kind of was there a big difference with how you approach them?
It's a great question. Yeah, I think there is definitely a difference in how I approach them. But just because I had more experience by the time I hit the OZ. Spencer and Locke, I kind of tripped and fell into the writing pool. I had written short scripts just because I thought it would make me a better story editor. I thought I wanted to be an editor, and then I thought I learned how little editors are paid and how they don't like they're primarily traffic cops versus the more creative back and forth that I really like. So I said maybe I'll be a development executive, and then I came out to LA, worked as a lit assistant, and like hated my whole life. But I had written short scripts, just thinking maybe this would be helpful, for me. And then that's kind of how I fell into Spencer and Locke. I decided I would write a full issue. And I was like, oh, that's fun. Maybe I'll write an outline, see how that goes. I was like, cool. Let me find an artist, see how that goes. And then I was like, maybe we'll pitch it. And then suddenly Action Lab says, how soon can you get it done? And I was like, oh, I think I just pitched a book.
Whoops.
Yeah, I was like, whoops. And even then, it wasn't until the book was completed and came out that I gave myself permission to think about doing another one, because I didn't know how it was going to be received. I knew that I kind of left it all in the field, but I was just like, oh God, if everybody hates this book, I'm out. I can't. That concept is not one you do quietly. That whether you succeed or fail, you do it loud. Yeah. So,
and you don't get a lot of second chances in this industry in general. Like when you get your shot and you hope it goes well, kind of thing.
Exactly. Whereas the OZ, it's been an interesting process because it's been so long. It's so long in development. It was one of the first 3 concepts I came up with after Spencer and Locke. I had come up with Spencer and Locke 2 and Going to the Chapel, and then the OZ. And the difference being, first off, that it was longer. It's one of the longest books I've ever written. I had written the first 2 issues, then went on and to answer one of the questions in here. I took a break so I could write Grand Theft Astro, which is we're just getting the art. We're finally getting our ducks in a row as far as our art is concerned with artist Jordi Perez and his schedule. But then I kind of returned to it as Ruben was starting to chisel away at pages. I just kind of shotgunned through the rest of the book. But at that point, I was feeling much more confident about everything. I had written more books. I think at that point I had written 2, 3. I had written 3 more books at that point, so I felt a little bit more confident in myself. I was actually writing another book kind of perpendicularly to this one. I had a work for hire situation, so I was kind of bouncing back and forth, and that was very good for me. It kind of was like, oh, okay, like this isn't me doing this on accident anymore. This is me being a professional about it and making the time and getting really focused.
It keeps being hard to do.
It also, some of it's also, Whitney Kogar and DC Hopkins, like they've been doing what they've been doing for a little longer, and so they really, they're able to take the ball and run with it. So my level of oversight is actually, I don't need to be as like laser driven, just because like they know they've been around the block. And I think also just by virtue of the type of story this is, Spencer and Locke is pretty intimate, in terms of its cast, and in terms of its sense of scale. Whereas this, this is kind of my big swing. This is sort of, I said, what's my Star Wars? This is it. And we're able to kind of take a bunch of characters, not so much like the three main leads and then a bunch of ancillary characters like going to the chapel. This is like, we kind of get that ensemble together. If anybody listening has ever played Chrono Trigger, for example, or Final Fantasy VII, I see Todd is real happy about that.
Chrono Trigger.
If you like
Chrono Trigger.
If you like Chrono Trigger, you're gonna love the OZ. Huge influence on how we kind of put that team together. So it is different in the sense that it's fantasy, and so we're able to do certain things that we wouldn't necessarily be able to do in Spencer and Locke, or we'd have to kind of like turn ourselves into knots figuring out how to justify. Here we don't have to. It was definitely a different process. It was a longer process for sure. But yeah, just as fun and just as satisfying. And, I do think that this is some of the best work I've done since Spencer and Locke. So I'm very excited that it's finally seeing the light of day.
That's cool. And do you attribute that to just like the passion you have behind it? Because you're really excited about these projects.
I'm excited. Well, so that's the benefit of being in indie comics is I don't have to work in anything that I don't want to. Yeah. And in fact, I kind of at this point I'm going out of my way not to work on things that I don't feel good about. Just because my process at this point, I'm coming up with ideas all the time. I love concept generation. That's super fun. I have a brain trust of people that I just bounce ideas off of all the time, like at least a couple times a week. And half the time they're just like, you just invented Inception or you just invented Armageddon. And that's cool. I love both of those movies. But anytime I come up with an idea that they're like, oh, that actually sounds pretty cool, I let it sit for a few weeks. And if I still remember that idea in a few weeks and I still feel good about that idea in a few weeks, then I say, okay, maybe this is something I want to pursue. But yeah, it's when you work with the teams that I work with, whether it's Jorge Santiago Jr. and Jason Smith and Colin Bell on Spencer and Locke, or Gavin Guidry and Liz Kramer and Ariana Maher on Going to the Chapel, or Ruben Rojas, Whitney Kogar, and TC Hopkins here on the OZ, it's hard not to feel confident. When you have art like this, it's very liberating to me as a writer because nobody's going to care about what I write. They're going to love the art. So it makes me feel a whole lot less self-conscious, for sure.
You're not the only tent pole that is like holding up the structure. I'm like the little. I'm the short one. But that's the thing is comics are an inherently visual medium, and so I'm very picky about who I work with because I want to make sure that not only is am I working with people who are talented and hungry just like I am, but people who are going to be the right fit for this story. And I think that's always really the hardest thing is kind of matchmaking, your teams for this stuff. And some of that's self-selecting. Ruben, for example, I found him on Twitter. He was answering a call for artists, which always shocked me. Because he's got a style that's like Dan Mora meets Sean Murphy. Like you don't need to be, people should have been banging his door down. And so I pitched Ruben 3 different books. I pitched him the OZ. I pitched him Grand Theft Astro because that hadn't been acquired yet. And I pitched him another book that I'm kind of redeveloping. And Ruben immediately selected the OZ. He likes fantasy. He likes post-apocalyptic stuff. This kind of hits him right in that sweet spot. And you can tell. Same thing with Jorge Santiago Jr. When I approached him, and he had just finished his program at SCAD, his MFA, he had been thinking he wanted to do a crime book. And so when I happened to pitch him with a crime book, he was like, yeah, I'm excited. I've been thinking about this for a while. So, it's so much of it's kind of luck and happenstance. And that's why for every book that I work on, I've usually sent about
30 to 40 emails. And it takes a little bit to kind of whittle that down and find somebody who's exactly the right fit.
It was the first time we heard it. There's one book that we haven't talked about. Somebody did ask Grand Theft Astro.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, we're hard at work on it. The book's written. So for those who don't know about what the book is, and it makes plenty of sense because I haven't talked about it as much because it's not even on a schedule.
Is that what you're pushing right now?
Yeah.
we're still working with Top Cow about kind of figuring out what the best schedule is, and by that we got to work with our artist Jordy Perez, I should say, because Jordy's had some really cool licensed work pop up, and so that's sort of we're working on the schedule now. He's chiseling away at the artwork now, but that series is kind of like Fast and the Furious meets Star Wars, with a little bit of Back to the Future thrown in for good mix. It's set in the future where people race for power, prestige, and pink slips as star chasers. So they get in their single person spacecraft and they just race through asteroid fields. And the fastest star chaser in the galaxy is a man named Hakeem Hermes Henriksen. In his quest to always go faster, he's built himself an experimental supercharger. And when he tries it out during a race, it accidentally tears open a wormhole that throws him 7 years into the future.
Oops.
So
I hate it when that happens.
It's not a DeLorean, is it?
Yeah, no DeLoreans. But Hakeem is going to have to team up with his former younger brother, who is now older than him, for a faster than light heist that will hopefully bring him back to his home era. So super fun book, super action packed. It is written. We are just getting the art together. I feel like by the time we get that squared away, it'll be worth it. But yeah, super fun book. I took some time from writing the OZ to finish Grand Theft Astro. So that book is written. Real happy with the scripts for that. And so yes, as soon as I have a concrete date, I will be shouting that from the rooftops because it is a book that I've been just Astro and the OZ are two books that I've been just like gnawing my own arm off waiting to like get out. So yes, I'm very excited about that series.
So you mentioned Top Cow. Is that going to be an image release then?
Yeah, I mean, we Top Cow has picked up the book. They announced it at San Diego Comic-Con 2 years ago. So we're just kind of, the thing about image is a lot of books get picked up and then there's no set time frame. It's just sort of it comes
out when it comes out.
Yeah, it gets released when it's ready. So that's sort of been kind of our thing is while I've been writing the books, it's just been kind of getting our ducks in a row as far as the scheduling is concerned.
That's a part of distance. That's not actually a unit of speed, Wes.
You go faster than 12 parsecs.
It's a form of distance.
Also, do people ever call him Triple H? And is his ship called the Pedigree?
That's funny. No, but maybe I'll have that in. We're still getting art, so it's not too late.
I mean, hey, if you want, you can throw me an idea credit if you decide to go that way.
Wait, your idea credit is WWE's property?
Yep.
Yeah, so sue him.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Maybe I'll get to meet Triple H someday.
In court. That would be nice.
In court.
Anyways, sorry.
Well, what else is there? Is there anything else that you can tell us as far as stuff that you're working on or other
I can tease a few things
you want to explore or different things that you're doing?
Sure. Well, I can tease a few things. I do have another book that's going to be announced, I think, in the next couple of months. That'll be coming out through the direct market. And it was a book that I didn't pitch to be like particularly spiritual, but then like as I wrote it, I think it really spoke to sort of my upbringing as a Jewish writer. But at the same time, no book that I ever do is straightforward. So it's got plenty of action and excitement. yeah, I was definitely listening to REM's "Losing My Religion" a lot in while I was writing that. What else? I've got some really fun. I've got some really fun anthology stories coming up. I've got everything from sort of slice of life to I got a really fun horror short that we just got art on. I actually teased it a little on my Twitter the other day, Project Spooky, with Erica DeUrso. She's terrific. If only I could get her to do a full-time series with me. She's so terrific.
I say we're big horror comic fans.
Yeah,
here.
so
Yeah,
you can DM us about that one when it comes out.
we would love to get an update when that's a thing.
Yeah, it's a short horror story that is gonna knock your socks off. I think that'll be coming out early next year. I think it'll be solicited in a couple of months.
Can you say?
No. Sorry, sorry. Wrong story. No, this.
Why are you working so much?
Yeah,
right. This horror story should be up on everybody's radars probably in the next couple of months.
Cool.
I do have another short anthology story with Chris Sheehan from the Autumnal. I can say that. That'll be the one that'll be out early next year. Super fun. Just 2 pages, but it's kind of our riff on crime and a little bit of horror, with a twist that I don't want to give away.
Sure.
And then I actually,
it might involve poop throwing.
It might. You know, keep writing your congressman. It might happen.
Your congressman.
You get enough chimpanzees in a room and they'll write about poop throwing.
Yeah. You know, just keep writing every day and maybe something will happen.
Yeah.
I'm working on Spencer and Locke 3. You know, it's the thing. First off, any delays for it is entirely my fault. The 1 and 2, I did not have any other projects to work on. I've since had to write, I think, 6 or 7 books. So that's why it's like I'm almost cleared off my plate. I have this Kickstarter and I have one other book that I owe, and then I can really finally just breathe and get this thing done.
I want to say stop working so hard and get it out, but then it's like I also really want the Oz.
I want to make
sure. So it's like
I will say though, for
is
people
sleeping necessary? How necessary is sleeping?
It's tough. I'm telling you, during this Kickstarter, I have not slept much.
Makes sense.
For those who are waiting for Spencer and Locke 3, I do have some good news though, in that I am working on another project with my Spencer and Locke collaborator, Jorge Santiago Jr. While he's waiting for me to finish those scripts, we are working on a superhero one shot together. So it's very different than Spencer and Locke, but it's a character that I've had in the back of my head for a very long time, and I knew that I couldn't picture anybody besides my ride or die Jorge Santiago Jr. Bringing that to life. So yeah, that's what's on our agenda right now. He's, I think, just starting to get to work on the art now. So, but yeah, you know, it's just, you know, lots of stuff going on.
So, Spencer and Locke is a fantastic story.
Yeah, I love how we can
that
just
art is
style.
just, oh my goodness. Yeah, you haven't read volume 2. I don't want to say too much.
Yeah, I just finished volume 1 like 30 minutes before we got on this interview.
The beginning of volume 2, it's like he does a comic strip style that I'm like, oh my God, he just nails it. And then it just goes right into just what he can do between like the different styles and the flashbacks, how they're a different style than present day, and then just how real, like when it's being real, how it is, and then how it is when it's not being real. I don't want to say too much because people just need to go read this. I don't want to.
Thank you, please. Yeah, you know, help me get my royalty checks. So yes, please, buy copious amounts of Spencer and Locke and Spencer and Locke 2.
You need at least 2 to 3 copies of each.
And going to the chapel. That's a good book, and we haven't talked about it really much. But that was like the first one I read because I was like, this intrigues me the most right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm so glad that you read Chapel. That book was a passion project that it took me a long time to get that over the net. You I pitched that similar to Spencer and Locke. I pitched Spencer and Locke all over town. And I distinctly remember a top 5 publisher telling me it was the best pitch they'd never publish, which I still wear as a badge of honor, because I feel like that's what everybody says about all my pitches. Going to the chapel was similar, and then I pitched that all over town, and I had lunch with publishers because I'm here in Los Angeles. There's a lot of publishers based out here, and universally I was told, we love this idea, don't know how to sell it. And I was kind of like, you don't want to pitch like Ocean's 11 meets Wedding Crashers? That sounds super fun.
Come on, it's right there.
So yeah, our little Die Hard at a Wedding story, it was inspired by I was the best man at my oldest friend's wedding, and I did a terrible job, like the worst job. I should start by saying it wasn't my fault.
It never is.
It wasn't my fault in that I was based in Los Angeles. I am still in Los Angeles. He at the time was based in North Carolina. Asked me to set up a bachelor party remotely in Asheville, North Carolina, a place that I had never been. And a couple days before I was scheduled to fly out for the bachelor party that I had planned, I was hospitalized with a kidney stone. And so I was incapacitated for about a week.
I've been there. That is not a joke.
It's not a joke.
You're not going to a bachelor party when you're
not
like
flying.
That.
You're not flying. And
tight. Oh no.
I've had a few stones, and usually they pass in the ER. This one did not. This was stubborn. This one stayed in there for a week. And so I didn't realize that. So my friend showed up to his bachelor party that I was no longer able to attend. And the Airbnb was trashed. Something went wrong with the booze cruise that I had scheduled. I had rented inflatable sumo suits for the backyard, not realizing that the backyard was at a 45-degree angle.
Still sounds fun when you're hammered drunk.
Yeah, just roll down the hill.
It's just a rolling game. It's not a sumo game.
So my friend was calling me. He's never had a kidney stone, so I don't think he empathized with like the sheer I lost that week to painkillers and just pain. And I think he was very hurt that I wasn't able to go. And so I'm trying to troubleshoot this thing while on Percocet in the wrong side of the country. And I thought to myself, well, at least it didn't happen during the wedding. And then I thought, but what if it did? And that became going to the chapel. I thought the worst thing that could happen to my friend at his wedding would be if his father-in-law hired some leg breakers to get him to call off the wedding. And then I realized, no, that's not the worst thing that could happen. The worst thing that could happen is if the bride got cold feet. And I realized that there was a really interesting emotional arc to that, because we see in pop culture all the time, dudes who being afraid of commitment, but women, it's way more dangerous for them. I mean, men are crazy. Yeah. And so, seeing kind of, her feelings of insecurity about the whole thing. And it all goes back to trauma. Whether it's Spencer and Locke, which is a little darker, more David Fincher-esque, or something lighter on its feet, like Going to the Chapel, all of my stories really are about exploring trauma and confronting trauma. In the case of Emily, she's gun shy romantically because she had this previous relationship with this man named Tom, who then vanished with no explanation. And it really traumatized her in a huge way. And as we find out, Tom is actually the leader of the bank robbing Bad Elvis gang, who has
created MySpace.
Yes, who is just so happened to pick Emily's wedding as a wedding to rob for a $125 million jewel necklace.
As one does.
But yeah, as one does. So yeah,
you and these classic stories.
Yeah,
just
a tale as old as time.
Yes, the old wedding heist.
Yeah,
robbery. Story. Yeah.
For me, every book
Amazing.
that
I love it.
Every book that I do, I want to find something universal. You know, I love the comics industry. I love the direct market. I realize that there were things we had to do to survive to get to this point. But I think one of the unintended consequences of that is that our industry can be very insular. You know, the wagons have been circled, and I think we spend a lot of time preaching to the choir instead.
It's a lot of echo chamber for sure.
Mm-hmm. I want converts. That's what I think with every book. And so I try to think kind of what's the emotional core here? What's the popular touchstone that we can talk about? You know, like for Spencer and Locke, most people of a certain age have heard of Calvin and Hobbes. Mm-hmm. But even if they haven't, everybody's had trauma happen to them. Everyone's had things in their past they don't like to think about that, you know, that has shaped them. Going to the chapel, you know, even if you haven't seen Die Hard or Ocean's 11 or Bridesmaids or Wedding Crashers, you know,
those normal things to talk about in the same sentence.
Yeah. Even if you haven't seen one of those, you've probably been to a wedding, and even if you haven't been to a wedding, you've probably been in love, or you've been dumped, or you've had something not work out. And even if you haven't, you probably have had dysfunctional family. And if you haven't had dysfunctional family, you're the dysfunctional one.
Yeah, man. Who are you, and what life have you led?
Yeah, you know.
Thanks for making me feel bad about myself.
Yeah,
Cole's like, what are all these things? My life's nice.
So, you know, for me, it's always sort of, you know, I consider my type of storytelling. It's the intersection of high concept and emotional engagement. I joke that I build trash concepts that I make you fall in love with. You know, it's weird, crazy stuff that you would never expect to work. But at the end of the day,
Calvin and Hobbes were detectives.
Yeah, you know. But at the same time,
it sounds like a pipe dream thing, like you would just say, and then but then it's like, oh,
yes, really we good. Sell it. We
that's
sell
really
it. Good. So yeah, it's does that include going to Action Park in the 90s on the Alpine slide? If you're still walking after that, good for you. But yeah, that's deeper trauma than I would have expected.
That's as harsh as it gets.
Yeah. You're like, I still am dealing with the road rash. But yeah, you know, it's always just what's the universal thing? How can I hand this book to a stranger and have them understand it? I used to do a lot of conventions before the pandemic. I had 16 scheduled this year. I only got to do 2. And the thing that I've always felt very good about is I have people come, you know, they look at my stuff and I pitch them on the book and they're like, well, I don't really read comics. And I'm like, that's okay. This one's your first. Nice. You know, everybody has a favorite comic, the same way that everybody's got a favorite TV show, a favorite movie, a favorite song, a favorite food. They just don't know what it is yet. And I think that has been our great failure as an industry. And I understand why we've had a fragmentation of the entertainment landscape. You know, it's hard to compete when you've got video games and Netflix and iPhones.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, as a comic creator, the sheer frequency of material that we have to put out at a certain level of quality, I consider comic creators to be some of the best and scrappiest storytellers on the planet. And so I think we're able to take our stories places that no one else can. Yeah. And so, you know,
there's things that in comics that you just can't see other places, and you'll get stories that you couldn't get any other way outside of maybe like a radio show. So it's all theater of the mind kind of thing. Like, and those are, it's like podcasts and comic books right now are the ones that can go the farthest because you don't really have constraints. You can just tell a story of like what basically everything you're talking about. You can do because you could just have somebody draw it out and it can just exist. Yeah, and it's special.
And we've talked before a few times on a few of our other shows that I think like 5-10 years from now, we're gonna look back at this period as I've said like golden age of indie comics.
Sure.
There's some small publishers and some amazing Kickstarter stuff and just all these little things, but just crazy concept books that are just, like you said, touch the heart and reach you emotionally and have just amazing artwork, and everything just comes together in such a beautiful way. And I really think we're going to be looking back on some of these books down the road and just be like, wow, yeah, like, oh, 2020 we had, you know, the shutdown and all this stuff, but like, remember remember when the OZ came out and how crazy that was?
Yes.
Like, you know?
Yes.
We'll have all these classics, and we won't even. We're gonna take it for granted now because we'll have weeks now that we do a weekly comic roundup, and some of the weeks we're just like, what do we choose?
How do we pick 9 books between 3 of us?
Yeah, because
it's narrow it down to 9
that are just amazing. We're all just in love with them, and it's just
usually it's
so
like, well,
hard.
I have these 2, but I picked this one.
Yeah. Oh man, and it's such a great time to enjoy comics.
It really is.
So you talked about favorite comics. What are some of yours?
Oh yeah. Besides Captain Marvel,
excluding your
Billy
own,
Batson, and then the ones you're shipping.
Yeah, besides the ones I'm shipping. Yeah, buy the OZ on Kickstarter right now. That's my favorite comic.
The OZ is the best comic I've ever read.
So I think as far as all-time favorites go, I'm a huge evangelist for Devin Grayson and Roger Robinson's Batman Gotham Knights. Came out in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think it's criminal that it was never collected in trade because it's such a wonderful, psychologically driven look at Batman and his extended family.
It never came out in trade.
They only have one trade with one arc. It's called Batman Transference.
Yeah.
It was a story with Batman fighting Hugo Strange, which was terrific. But they all of it, it's all in Comixology. It's all terrific.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just my dad had it in singles.
Your dad
I didn't realize it was.
Oh my god. Yeah. God. I didn't need to hear that. Your dad. What else do I really like? Grant Morrison's JLA. I consider that to be Desert Island reading. JMS's Amazing Spider-Man up until JR left. What else do I really like? I really like what Frank Miller does with form and structure. Daredevil, the Man Without Fear was pretty formative on me as a kid. Made me realize that real writers made these things. Up to, Dark Knight Returns. I'm a Dark Knight Returns guy versus Year One. Although both of them, I wouldn't mind writing a Batman Year One. But
if I have to,
it'd be cool. I'm not going to poo-poo that. Some other books I'm really digging right now. Really digging Bleed Them Dry over at Vault. That's like just my particular brand of crazy.
There it is.
Good
job, Cole.
What else?
Cole's always on the spot to show off.
Yeah, I love that book.
He's Johnny on the spot.
I'm really digging what Tom Taylor's doing lately. With Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. I can't believe it's about to end. I'm really sad.
Same.
Because it's the first time I've been like, this is really good Suicide Squad.
It's undeserved. It's undeserved. And I'm excited for his Dark Ages book over at Marvel.
My goodness, yeah.
I'm blanking on who's drawing it, but it's somebody who's kind of deserved that big Marvel Universe spotlight for a while. But what else am I liking? Al Ewing, really liking what he's doing on Guardians of the Galaxy. Kind of reminds me of his Mighty Avengers run, which is kind of where I discovered him as a writer. Donny Cates is great. I'm always jealous of Donny for his level of output and his level of quality. If it's got his name on it, I'll always give it a shot. Michael Morecki is doing amazing stuff with The Plot and Wasted Space over at Vault. And he's such a super just sweet and gracious guy. He's always been very generous with his time for me, even before I was a full-time creator.
That's cool. That's always a big deal. That's awesome. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, he's great. Justin Jordan is a creator I really like. I consider him kind of to be my chief role model, just in the way that he sort of navigates the business of it all. But yeah, that's always kind of the weird thing for me now, especially because I had gone through the trenches of the reviewer of writing reviews for a very long time. Is that now it's less about the books and more about the creators. If there's a creator doing something that I think is really cool, I'll follow them. Like what James Tynan's doing right now with Something Is Killing the Children.
Oh boy. Oh my. Yeah, everybody, we all reach for our Something Is Killing the Children stuff.
Yeah.
We got those from James Tynan because he was selling like 30 bandanas.
Yeah.
And we all grabbed one and then gave one away because I bought 2.
And he and
oh my god, everything he does, we clamor over because
he and Jorge Jimenez are doing some really cool stuff on Batman right now.
Yep. Is there a big Batman thing going on right now?
Yeah,
like a war of Jokers.
Yeah, is there a joke? 3 Jokers, right? That's it, right? No.
Yeah. So there's trying to think. There's definitely something else I was missing. Well, I know James is trying. He's doing something that's kind of like, it almost looks like Superior Batman, which I'm a huge fan of Dan Slott. I actually he taught a writing course that I took while I was a DC intern back when he had just started in Mighty Avengers. So I owe Dan a lot. He taught me a lot about how characterization worked. So his run on Spider-Man is just. What? Gotham Knights is being released?
Oh my goodness! Look at that. Oh, probably because of video games.
That's our DC guy.
Yeah, he's like an inside track DC guy. He
would know for sure.
He knows all the DC
cool.
things.
Because
it looks like they have 74 issues of that on
DCU
Universe.
Look at that. If you get DCU, you can check it out.
If you liked James Tynan's work on Detective Comics,
oh my god, it was so good.
Then you will love Batman Gotham Knights.
Yeah, you will for sure.
Check it out, because I mean that's I think my favorite like DC work that James Tynan's done for sure.
I'm just laughing at this comment here. That's very funny.
Not enough Joker. No, for sure. You make a really good point. We definitely don't see enough of him or any multiples of him ever.
Yeah. This guy may or may not be the worst.
I want a Batman who laughs ongoing.
They kind of had one.
Yeah, but yeah, there's tons of creators doing really cool stuff.
James is doing the Department of Truth. Is it
Department of Truth?
Yeah, it's really good. I read the
out.
first issue. It's really good.
It is interesting because before they can attest to this, before we started Comic Burrito, I was just a books guy, kind of, but I would mostly just listen to Gavin, the owner of Tardy's, my local comic book store guy. He would tell me, "Hey, this is good. You should check this out."
You're like, "Hey Todd, this Saga book is heating up. You should."
It was actually the owner before.
Oh, was it before
Gavin? That was like, "Oh, people are liking this a lot," and I got a Saga first printing, and I had no fucking idea what it was and everything. And I'm just now Cole's like, "I really need to get one of these," and I'm like, "Yeah." I was handed it to it and was basically forced to spend $4 on it. Sorry, like I love it, but I didn't.
I think it's a $3 maybe on that.
It might have been $2.99. Yeah, that's true. But I was never a creator person, and then we started doing this, and I started seeing all these ties, and I'm like looking at authors more, and I'm like, I inadvertently follow a lot of creators, probably because my local comic book store guy followed a lot of creators. But once I started seeing these ties, now I'm also very interested because we're talking about our authors, and we try to like mention all of the people who were involved when we talk about a comic. So now I'm seeing like, oh, they did this and they did this and they did this. And now if I see those names pop up, I'm like, I have to grab that because I know them from all these different things. And it does make a big difference. It's the same way with like directors you talk about David Finch. If I somehow didn't know that there was a new David Finch film that I haven't watched, I'm like, I have to watch that. It's a David Finch film I haven't seen.
Right. And so, I mean, it's a cool thing, about interacting with media. And it's something that I think a lot of people, they do it a little bit more passively, which is fine. I mean, not everybody should be expected to have like, a media studies degree or really know anything more than sort of the most basic stuff. But I do think that as you get into it deeper and you appreciate it more and you start to be able to pick out individual artistic voices, that's something that I know as a creator we appreciate. It's so easy to kind of see entertainment as just like meh, like that there's no human on the other end of this. It's something that I always, yeah, I mean, and look, even as a creator, if I see something on Netflix that I don't like, I mean, not that I'm going to like go on my laptop and like write a nasty review about it. But like, I was like, that sucked and turn it off. There's not a lot of sentimentality about what goes into entertainment. It's just whether or not you like it or not.
There's just so much of it, especially with that kind of thing. When you're on Netflix, it's too easy to switch over.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, that's something I really like about comics. It can be a little double-edged sometimes, but we have that interaction with the readership, and most of the time, I've been pretty fortunate that it's kind of once in a blue moon that anything ever kind of negative or untoward happens. I would say that my interactions with our fans and readership has been overwhelmingly positive. And, it really inspires me to keep bringing my A game. It inspires me to make sure that I'm writing for a reader, not just kind of for a diehard. And yeah, it's easy, I think, to forget that the readers are the reason you're here, and it's something I never want to forget. And so, with books like the OZ or Spencer and Locke or Going to the Chapel, I want to invite more people to the table. I want to build that wider consensus, and hopefully they'll stick around for future books to come.
That's awesome. This is the longest I've went without a pee break before. I have to. I've been trying really hard to not do it, but I'm gonna go do that because this is like I drink.
Do we want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Then, or?
Sure. Oh, we can. Well, we have. Okay. Well, Cole has one last question.
There's only
this
one.
Is the most important question of the night.
And also be prepared. This is a big one. We ask all of our interviewees. Just brace yourself. It's intense.
You're creating the most perfect burrito. What does that entail?
Oh man,
maybe the one you had earlier this evening.
Is that perfect?
I can tell you my favorite burrito. It's El Coyote Cafe here in LA off Beverly Boulevard, and honestly, get me some refried beans. Get me some cheese, get me some sour cream, give me a little bit of guac in there, some pico de gallo, give me some enchilada sauce on there. I'm a man of simple tastes.
You're a wet burrito man.
If I'm going big, then yes.
Perfect burrito. Yeah. Everything you could want.
That's kind of my favorite. But actually, you know what? I'm a lying liar who lies. My favorite burrito. I
hate burritos, and he just signs off.
My favorite burrito of all time. If you go there and you swarm my burrito place, I'm gonna kill you. I
don't think we have a lot of LA people. If you're you should be safe.
It's El Burrito Jr. off PCH and Avenue D in Redondo Beach. It's just this little burrito shack.
I know some of those words. So.
It is the best burrito. It's just a bean and cheese burrito with some salsa. It is incredible. It's down the street from my aunt's house. I lived there for a little while when I first moved to LA. I used to walk there every single day. It was so good. I was just fortunate enough to go back there a couple weeks ago to drop some stuff off, and I had my El Burrito, and that's my perfect burrito.
You said it's just bean and cheese?
Just bean and cheese, man. There's
no meat in it?
Keep it simple.
Oh man, that's classic right there. That is just barely a burrito, but in like it's simple, perfect kind of way.
Yes,
so that's
it's
great.
Like a simple, perfect, just like a grilled cheese sandwich is the simple, perfect sandwich. An El Burrito Jr. Special C meal, that is the best. Like $7 I'll ever spend.
Just this section, I'm gonna cut out and try to make push out there, and you're just gonna hate me.
The best $7 I'll ever spend. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You can use that for the ads for Comic Burrito It's the best $7 I'll ever spend. You guys are gonna have to split it amongst the three of you, though.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fine. We're used to it.
Yeah, we'll buy like
Don't spend it all in
2
one
issues
place,
of comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for getting wrapped up with us. Really appreciate it. It's really fun. And when either you have Oz 2 come out or Lock 3 come out or Astros come out or
this horror book that you've been pushing, definitely come back for that one.
Or the Slice of Life anthology or the other. When any of those come out, you should come back on and talk about it because it's been a pleasure.
Definitely. We'll talk sooner rather than later. I promise.
Perfect.
Because yes, I should have another announcement in probably the next couple months.
All right. Perfect.
I'm very excited.
But yeah, no, thank you guys for having me. And yeah, everybody listening, thank you for considering the OZ. Because it's Kickstarter, every backer matters, every dollar counts. I promise I'm not getting rich off this because all the money we're getting here is just going towards the next issues and the print costs for that. So I promise I'm not getting rich off this. But like I said, I want to build.
Throws money in the air.
I would have no problem if you were, but
I know I would be too. It's like, cool.
I never want them to look. This is not a cash grab. This is I want to build the widest possible readership. I don't know if anyone
believes that indie comics on Kickstarter are a cash grab that's meant to try to get like a lot of money.
No, it's
passion, and that's really I think what gravitates everybody towards it is they know people are doing this to get it out and to get it out in the best way possible.
Yes, because if there's any reason that people join the comics industry, it's definitely because of the money, respect, and job security.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
So,
that's why you went to 8 years of comic school, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, buy the OZ. I promise you're gonna love it. We're gonna give you plenty of bang for your buck, and I promise you, I think it's some of the best work I've ever written. It's certainly some of the most beautiful art that I've ever been a part of. And I think, if you like Mad Max, if you like The Old Guard, if you like Fables, if you like The Wizard of Oz, if you just like Spencer and Locke, you're going to love this book.
Awesome. Well, perfect outro because, that's incredible. Thank you for joining us so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Look forward to what comes.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see you
around, guys.
You too.
That was great.
Check this out. Thank you, David, again. You're gone now, but that was great. I have to pee.
Go pee.
So badly.
Juices. I'm dropping you already.
It's been a half hour.
Proud of you.
Thank you. I did my best. I tried. I thought you were going to drop me.
Oh. See you, dude.
There he goes. Oh boy, that was fun. That was a
lot of fun.
That was our longest interview to date, and I didn't even realize how long we had been going.
Oh yeah, I
was just lost talking to him. At one point, I don't know if you noticed, but my wife came down and I had to take my headset off.
Oh no, yeah, I was like looking at David most of the time, and it was like. And then I'd occasionally see Todd like do something, and I was like, "Wait, did I not hear the same thing? What's going on?" Or I'd see you make a face, and it's like. But yeah, that was great. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. So we read that. We saw I definitely wish there was more than 12 pages to that intro preview that we got. But as you guys can see, if you do actually go to that Kickstarter, I'm pretty sure the same 12 pages we read is what's on the actual Kickstarter itself.
Yeah, it's down at the bottom, and it was hilarious because I think he sent me the previews on Twitter, and I read it, and it was like, oh my gosh, you guys, we got to do this interview. You got to check this out. And I feel like a day or two went by, and then I don't know if Todd read it first or if you read it first, but then it was because I was like, this is awesome, and then it was like a day or two burn, and then it was like one of you guys read it, and you were like, yeah, this is awesome, and then it was another day burn, and it was like, oh my god.
So Todd read it. Because I remember when that happened, it was one of the days that either I went into work or like just something crazy happened at work and I was just not as responsive as I normally am. And I'm pretty sure that like I came back, I saw you guys talk about it and I was just like, I think I'm in. Like, or I think I just said like I'll check it out, and then like later I read it and I'm like, yep, I'm in. And then we got those new books. I mean, granted, this week, I mean, so it was my daughter's birthday on Wednesday. I haven't spent like I've been spending more time with them, doing like haven't been able to read as much, but I read Spencer and Locke, and Going to the Chapel today, and it was just like, if I wasn't sold by that 12-page preview,
everything else. There was something wrong with my reader, and it screwed up the lettering. My copy. I know I showed you where it would. To explain it simply for people, if there were 2 letters in a row, like if it was the word tree, it would be TR and then a weird stretched single E. And it was through most of the dialogue of the book. So I'm just going to buy the Comixology version anyways, because I don't mind supporting them at all.
Well, if you just grab, I'm not sure how quick you'll get it, but depending on which Kickstarter you get, it might be the same thing that you get, though. And I wonder, have you tried to re-download it and delete it?
No, I'm going to do that first. But my point being that my lettering was very wonky, and I still really loved the book, and I like smashed through it. Like after a while, I actually my brain just started.
You figured it out.
Like, yeah, it just started switching over. But I saw that, and I sent him a message immediately, too, because I'm like, is it supposed to be like this? Because I got a little worried at first, because I'm like, this is a weird choice. That
because I know
I'm like,
Wednesday you showed me, and I'm like, nope, and I shared my screen.
And I'm like, this is either, like, brilliant lettering or, like, not good. I don't know.
You just got Hickmaned.
Yeah, I just got Hickmaned. And, yeah, so Grand Theft Astro, I have heard a little bit about too, graphic vandalism's mentioning, but yeah, I keep coming back to this yellow variant cover from Man House, who did God Killers and Spencer and Locke, and I don't know which reward.
Is that the one that he covered or colored?
That's the one he colored. I feel like I have to get this one and then just pray to God that life goes back to normal someday and there's a con and he happens to come near us and I can get that cover signed, because that thing, as soon as I saw it, it was like, I gotta have that one.
Yeah, I mean, I too, even that Akira cover is pretty dope. I mean, all of these covers are good, where I know we were talking about like maybe going in on it together, and it's like, do I want to just get all of them?
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of wondering.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, like, Going to the Chapel. Well, because you had mentioned you had said like you read Spencer and Locke, and I was like, oh, well, then I'll just read Going to the Chapel, because that way, like, we at least have a little bit of knowledge about both of them. And after I read that, I was like, so I went to my in-laws, we had dinner, and while they were making dinner and everyone else was playing, I was like sitting on my phone reading that. And I was just like, oh man, I like when I got home, put my daughter to bed, I just like crushed the rest of like Spencer and Locke, because I was just like,
I'll probably read the volume 2 tonight. And
I probably won't tonight, but I definitely will get to it probably tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's some of my favorite stuff I've read all week.
Spencer and Locke too, like the art alone, like we had kind of touched on this a little bit in the interview, but it goes through like all these different styles of art, and like I really enjoy how that does
that a little bit. Like they go like when they go back in time when he's a kid, it's very Sunday. It's Calvin and Hobbes style. It's Calvin and Hobbes style art when he's flashing back to childhood and stuff. And then when it comes forward, it's more of an animated, darker type style. So
there was that part too where like like issue 3, he does that Rocket Man themed thing, and that's even kind of a slightly different style than the normal style. So
yeah, it's cool stuff. It's I haven't. I know Spencer and Locke was recommended to me not too long ago.
I remember too. Like I think I've been recommended that. Like,
yeah.
Oof.
Well. You still didn't get it right.
Yeah. Here.
There you go.
They added a new feature where you can drag and drop people. And I was just trying.
So yeah, we totally changed subjects and haven't been still talking about like Spencer and Locke.
Yeah, I definitely didn't.
So
Just
I wanted to talk about one thing because I wasn't on last week, and I knew that Todd had to be on before I talked about this book because this is definitely something he has never talked about, and he has probably never read before. But I think it's right up his alley. And let's talk about this book. It's called Gunland. And let me tell you, it is fantastic. If you've seen this cover, you pretty much know what the art looks like at this point.
All right, what's the art look like?
This cover.
Hmm.
But, oh man, you recommended this. I think I went on. So this is, what is it called? Magnetic.
That you translated it and put it up the English version, yeah.
It was great.
I hear.
It's 6 chapters. And it is just fun. I mean, if you want a serious book, it's probably not for you. It's kind of like a Western sci-fi magic thing.
I definitely wouldn't know because
dinosaurs.
I don't know anything about it. It's definitely not written and done everything with Captain Artigilio initially, and then Mike Kennedy does the English translation, and then it's out. The English translation is published by Magnetic, but I've never heard of it, so I don't know where all that came from. That's probably just nonsense.
If you get a book from them, these do ship pretty awesome. And I got, and I mean, since it's right over here, I'll just show it.
I hate him that he has this because I want it.
They sent this, which I haven't framed yet, but the poster, and it's reverse-sided with another poster.
Good, right there. Well, I kind of like this. Maybe over here. I want to get that sometime. There's too many other things I'm using right now, so.
And
I can't wait for you to get it, and then you yell at me for not telling you.
Yeah.
Well,
or just be like, thanks, Cole, for recommending this.
4 years from now, I'll be on like InStock or Amazon or something, and I'll just see it, and I'll be like, this sounds familiar, and I'll buy it, and then I'll read it, and then I'll think I'm awesome, and I'll be like, guys, you got to check this out.
Well, thank you guys for the kind words. Also, poser, David is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
like
that was great.
If you're running your own page or your own channel or something, you should hit him up. And
if you happen to have your own YouTube page, it might not be so bad.
I don't know. I've never heard of this comic book poser guy. But
who's this poser guy?
Poser.
Yeah, poser. You should have him on.
To be fair, I think we all make old man noises getting out of chairs. Nick just stands, so he doesn't.
Yeah, I still don't know how Nick stands the whole time.
But you're like,
no, I've been sitting.
It's like a tall stool, right?
I get kind of amped up, and I got to stand up a little bit. It is a tall stool.
I mean, I could also get amped up and stand, but
I actually stand because the stool is so uncomfortable.
But then
who needs a pants check when we can give you a weird torso check?
How about a
shirt check?
Nose check.
That's just.
This is for Kane Paul when he was asking about my shirt. I didn't want to like weirdly get up and awkwardly show a shirt.
You can see all the hairs in my beard.
I do have.
You can see all the ones that are missing in mine.
But I do have some pretty.
Pants.
I do have
pants.
Pajama pants.
Speaking of the color green, I have the most dad cargo shorts on.
Yeah, you do. Moobs check.
Moobs check done. We already got that.
I might pull a Todd and go pee right now. So
I love that. Just a bodily function is pulling a Todd.
I was gonna do it when you did it, but I felt bad for Nick, so I was like, I can hold it. Like I could go directly now, but like I could hold it. So.
He says that all the time when he's at home with his wife, and he has.
I gotta go pull a Todd.
I gotta pull a Todd.
I'm pulling a Nick by drinking water.
I will say that of all the bodily functions, pulling a Todd being code for going to the bathroom is
not so bad.
Too bad.
It could be worse.
It could be way worse.
If I go on Urban Dictionary, pulling a Todd definitely is something different.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
Pulling a Todd.
And if it's not, I'm going to add something. Oh, what other books did you read this week?
Oh, man. I read a lot this week. I'm on. I was like, I don't remember reading all these. I went to where I had Gunland info, and that was the 12th. I'm like, I didn't read any of these this week. That's wrong. That's not new, buddy.
I know it's not new, but now that I have
It's
my
new to you.
CLZ,
Yeah.
now that I have my now that I have my CLZ, now when I go to the comic book store, it's like, hey, I don't have this cover.
Have you read Descender before? It's
No,
really
is it
good.
Is it
It's
good?
really good. That Win guy, the art's pretty good, decent. Pulling a Todd, leaving a live stream to go pee. That's very specific. So I'll take it. If that's my claim to very mediocre fame, I'll take it. Been a very long day. I want to ask Todd's thoughts on Fishkill before I pass out. It's fucking awesome, but really fucking weird. Everything from heavy metal is really weird. Also, yeah, if you have to pass out, I'm sorry. Hopefully it's through sleep. He's at the end of a bender. I need to pass down.
Wait, I gotta
ask about Fishkill. Let me pull up.
Yeah, hopefully you'll remember.
Cover. Kaboom. Dope ass cover that Nick isn't looking at.
Oh,
but that's the cover for Fishkill.
I like that. That almost looks like Jeff Lemire.
Yeah, it's Heavy Metal Magazine. The art is also very similar to that. I really like the letters. It's very different. Oh, Pull-a-Todd, pulling a cod.
Look at
that. It's a really intense book, which is all of the heavy metal ones. But I really dig it, and I'm excited. It's really hard for me now to get pulled in by a number one, as you have known from watching any of our guys. If there's a number one, I probably have read it. And then I don't want to talk too much about it because it is. I really think people should read it. The ending is tragic and makes me. I really need to see where things go.
That's usually what people say about my sex life.
Yeah, I really need to see where things go. But yeah.
Also, it's tragic.
What did you think, Kane Paul?
He's passed out.
Yeah, he's already. He asked and then he passed out.
As soon as you were like, "It's good," he was like,
I'll catch it on replay. But yeah, I'm really digging everything that Heavy Metal's putting out. Brooklyn Gladiator was fucking weird as fuck. But I really liked it. It made me think of God Killer, which I think I mentioned on Wednesday, especially with the art and just how crazed the story is. You can almost feel the mania coming out of the book, which is really fun and also terrifying and all the fucked up things. I got to feel like an off-brand Diet Coke at Wesker Comics The Gathering today.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either, really. It's probably really loud in my mic. I'm sorry.
Your wine pouring was very loud.
I know. Honestly, when it started, I just went for it. I'm like, it's just going to sound like pissing.
I kind of thought you were doing it on purpose.
On it.
I did the second time. The second time I was like,
I'm like, he's doing it on purpose. I'm like, I'm not even gonna glorify it by pointing it out because I thought about it at first, like that's just what he wants.
Yeah, the first time I was like, oh, that's kind of loud. So the second time I was just like, blah 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 blah.
Bloop, bloop.
I have all of my DC for next week already.
Thanks for.
Are you Wes?
Poser.
I know that some shops, so like our shop, the one me and Nick go to, they get all their DC stuff on Wednesday.
Oh, I get it now.
But also, like, if that's a thing that he did,
I'm this much wine in, so I'm trying to follow.
Proud of you.
So I just heard back from David And I want to thank our viewers. He said we had 5 new backers during our interview.
Oh,
So
yay!
super psyched about it. I just want to
That's
say
awesome
for everybody. The 3 of us haven't done it yet because I'm still not sure which one I want. But
I think we're gonna pool and get the.
Yeah, but
do we want to talk about this? I think if we go for it, we're gonna pool it and maybe do a giveaway.
Yeah, but I kind of want that variant cover, and it's only $5 more to get it by myself.
But I bet you we could talk to David and maybe
we'll talk to David and see what we can get.
I bet you if we do the 3-person split, maybe we can get that variant.
There's also a signed option that's pretty cool.
That would be fun. Also, everybody who's watching, if you're not part of the Discord, you should join it. And also, if you happen to be a football fan, we're going to start a Chalupa Batman Burrito Fantasy Football League. And you should get in on that.
We got sidetracked because I was gonna weirdly ask him if he's into football and if he wanted to join.
That's
because
what someone said. Yeah, Andrew said that, and I was just like, I really want to ask.
I mean,
because then I was just gonna maybe like sidetrack into us. So like, what do you like outside of comics? But then we just kept talking about comics, and he's so interesting to actually listen to talk comics that.
Yeah,
he is. Well, he's done so much stuff between interning and everything else, and being a part of that community out there. He's just has a lot to tell.
Yeah, that is really interesting, and it's a fun perspective. Woo! I don't know what it's wooing to, but I'm hoping
I don't know
because he's going to join the fantasy football league.
I was gonna say, if we're one short, then we can send him a message and see if we can get that.
We randomly get
maybe Wes. Can you get your best friend Scott Snyder to join our fantasy football
or Tom
league?
Taylor?
Or Tom Taylor, your big.
I mean, if you get Tom King too, I'd be into that.
They're your best friends. It's like half YouTubers, half high profile.
Yeah, comic people.
Comic creators. Yeah.
Tom King only drafts 9 players at a time.
Yes.
Can I have all of them nine of my picks at the same time?
Yeah, he has a really weird draft format that he likes to do.
Yeah, he's like, I'll go last, but I gotta pick 9 at a time.
But I get 9. It just makes sense for the league.
Yeah.
They understand what I'm doing if I can just do 9 picks at a time.
The woos was to the new backers.
Oh, yeah.
Poser wants to do a 4-way with us. But I think we're thinking about doing a giveaway, maybe.
Well, let's do 2 4-ways.
The 3 of us were going to pool in and get the 4 package, and then there'd be 1, 2, and 3, and then the 4th one would be giveaway.
Well, maybe if we'll talk to David. Maybe we'll
talk
to David.
We're
really close now. He's part of our fantasy football.
We're like best friends. He's thinking about it. He's really thinking about it.
He's like, yeah, he's a baby.
He's still watching right now.
Yes.
He's like, no, I'm not gonna do your fantasy football.
I fucking hate football.
And all your books are full price.
All of his really dark Spencer and Locke shit actually comes from football memories.
Yes.
He's like, I really fucking hate football. So yeah, no. Yes, I would also die if Scott Snyder fucking said yes to our stupid fantasy football league.
Wes, will you at least ask?
Yeah, just go for it.
Just send him
act like if he says something weird back, say like, "Oh, I meant it was supposed to go to my other friend Scott."
Yeah,
so you can just back out really easily.
Yeah, be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was the wrong."
It's kind of like when you send a dick pic to some. I mean, never mind.
What about doc pics?
Don't send Snyder a dick pic.
If you like doc pics or duck pics,
also join the Discord.
Unless it's bat dick, then maybe you could get away with it.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
But that was that's not.
That was
canon.
Dick Grayson on a dock with a duck.
That's not canon, Dick.
It's not canon, Dick.
Hell, y'all. Yeah. All right. Cool.
What's the worst that could happen? He's like, I don't want to be your friend anymore.
Yeah. And if he does, do you even want to be that dude's friend? If asking him to join a fantasy football league causes him to not be your friend.
He says no, but he signs a Jerry Rice photo and sends
I'm
it
totally
to him.
fine with it if he just comes up with a cool team name. He's there for the draft. He sets his team, and then we never.
He just leaves.
He doesn't even have to show up for the draft as long as he's part of it, so that we can take a picture and say Scott Snyder's in our fantasy football league.
He pre-picked. Yeah,
he's got to put the comic in for the buy-in. The $1.
throw a book
He signs
in
a time
for Scott
Tom
Snyder.
King.
Scott Snyder's got a book. He can throw a book in.
No, he signs a Tom King book and sends it to us.
That would be great. That would be my most prized possession.
I would love it.
That would be fantastic.
I know that there are people that will do that. Like bring a book that somebody doesn't make.
He signs the wedding book and sends it to us.
I got a Batman 50 that I just don't really care for.
Yeah, that was really overly hyped.
That would make me really like it. Although no, I do like it. I got the Jim Lee cover and I like it a lot.
I hear he knows how to critique art real well.
He does.
Did you ever watch Fandom, Cole?
No, I was in the middle of nowhere with no internet.
Yeah, but it exists outside of that.
But I don't think
I watched
on demand yet. I don't think they have they?
I watched the Batman trailer. I watched some of the Suicide Squad stuff.
They've released some like clips and stuff, but I have not been able to find. I haven't really looked.
I did only look the next day, and I gave it.
Yeah, I did. I looked like 2 days later, and I couldn't find like the full.
DC Fandom drew 22 million views.
That's pretty good.
Whoa, that's like almost as many as we get on a live stream.
Man, I just wish they had talked about comic books more while they had all those people watching. But I digress.
It was still.
I mean, from what I saw, that's one of the reasons why I was like kind of okay with not seeing it. It mostly didn't seem like a lot of comic book related stuff, but
there was like maybe
Steve says it's mostly on YouTube. I know that there is a fandom.
Clips though. I want to watch the whole.
He will sign a Strange Adventures #2.
Yes, even better.
Yeah, is it the doc cover, please?
yeah, a variant. And if it could be like creased and all bent too, that'd be.
He balls it up.
It's actually missing the cover, and the first page is signed. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Strange Adventures #1 with ads, and he signs an ad.
Yes.
And then chips it off.
Just
I wonder if there's probably an ad for death metal in that.
Oh,
that would be interesting.
That'd be kind of cool. Can you imagine going to a convention to Scott Snyder? You show up with a Strange Adventures, but then you flip to
You're like, can you sign this ad?
For your comic
I do
book.
have a Scott Snyder signed book that actually Steve from the chat sent to me.
Whoa.
It is a #9 Justice League that's an Aquaman cover.
I thought you were about to say a #9 Court of Owls.
Yeah, Steve, they are doing part 2, which is mostly comics. I had a gripe that they took the comics out because they would have had all the people that are fans from the movies that would have potentially heard about some cool books.
But look at how much content they had for
They did.
That.
They did have a lot. They could have.
It was quality content.
It was. I would still say that was like a 9 out of 10. Maybe
that's way higher than I was expecting.
I mean, maybe 8 out of 10 at worst. But
I was expecting a 3.
Yeah, it was an amazing. I thought it was gonna flop. I thought I thought the site was going to crash. I thought they were gonna have all kinds of tech problems and stuff for this worldwide event, and they pulled it off awesome. There was some stuff that was dumb, but we already talked about that.
Yeah.
That they.
Well, that's going to happen over that many hours.
Sure.
I mean, it's even like being at a Comic-Con. Some of the stuff probably is not.
It's not all, but it's not all for you. This wasn't for us in particular. This one was for the people to pull them in, and they still did the Jim Lee like art thing, and they talked a little bit about comics. It's kind of like they were like, okay, we get this DCU people, these people who are like kind of like the casuals. Let's get them hooked with this fandom. So when we do this second one and they remember how great it is, maybe they get pulled in for it and they get sucked into the comic side.
I think that'll happen. I think it
will too. I think this is perfect.
Yeah.
I think this is how you get casuals a little bit deeper, and then they're set and they kind of understand some of these people and they see them again. You still get like some of these celebrities back to talk about the comic side, so that they still have this like. Yeah, it's still exciting. Get The Rock to fucking talk about Justice League. You'll get people that get eyes on it.
Well, and I think they need to adapt more from comic source too into movies. If there was a a Blackest Night movie, then everybody is going to be picking up and reading Blackest Night.
Don't toy with me.
Don't toy with me. I mean, it would need to be at least a trilogy, right? At least a trilogy. You couldn't just do. They would try. They'd have Blackest Night, and it'd be terrible. But
they make it 120 minutes, and it's terrible.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, but no, a trilogy of Blackest Night would be awesome.
I had said like something like DC fandom, and then my brother-in-law, who doesn't know anything about comics and probably hasn't even seen any comic book movies, besides maybe like V for Vendetta or Sin City, like one of the undercover comic books.
You don't know where comic book movies.
And like he goes, "Oh, do you mean DC Fandom?" And I was like, "How do you know about this?" And he was like, "Oh, they've been pushing this on NBA, and since there isn't college basketball, like I was like, well, I guess I'll watch NBA right now." And apparently he was like, "There's like a commercial every commercial break." And so like, I mean, DC was pushing it. So I mean, like, if this guy that knows nothing about comics is able to see it and know the correct name for it, and I don't know the correct name for it, that says something, I guess.
That's definitely cool to see.
Does that say something though?
Well, I mean that he knows the correct name, yeah, right?
Sure. No, yeah, this is something. It might say more about you than the fandom.
Yeah. He told me although he hasn't been intrigued to read the comic book Mouse, or Mouse, I don't know, like Maus.
Oh yeah. That's one I've been thinking about picking up.
I literally was just thinking Mouse. Like I'm like Mighty Mouse because you just sent that in the Discord earlier. And I'm like, he's been really wanting to pick up Mighty Mouse, or is Disney putting out a book that I don't know about?
I mean, I think that's one of those books like Watchmen, where it's like perceived as something completely like this is one of the best of the media for people that don't like the media.
This is if you want to see if you like this, check this out. Except I think that's outdated on Watchmen.
Well, especially with Watchmen. I mean, like, Watchmen's a great comic book and it did great things, but like reading it now, it's not that. Like there are.
It's Saga now. Saga's the new Watchmen. It's like you want to see if you like comics, try Saga. See what you think.
I had the pleasure and fun today of being in a group chat with two guys who were reading Saga for their first time today, and it was exciting. It was so exciting, and Trevor especially is just loving it. It was a big ask too, because he's like, "All right, what should I get?" And he started with DC Universe Digital. Just trying the 7-day trial, and he's been reading that, and finally he's like, "So what should I buy?" And I'm like, "All right, this is a biggie, but just buy the Saga compendium." And it was like it was on Amazon for $35 or something like that, $37 or something like that. I'm like, it's a lot. Like it's he said it was like 5.2 pounds on the package. It's over 1,300 pages. There it is. Yeah. I'm sitting there, I'm like, if I recommend that to somebody and he buys that and doesn't like it, like that's a lot of shelf space for something you don't like.
Yeah, but also like that's a lot of bang for buck.
Oh, it is. That's what I told him too. I'm like, you could do it like me and buy just volume 1 and check it out. But then by the time you get volume 9, you're going to spend over twice as much money on this book.
So look at the last page.
Yeah. It gets me every time because I'm looking for page count and I'm like,
even me, like, I know, like,
but like,
do they have the letter after that? Is the letter in that book?
No.
That's kind of a bummer to me.
I agree, but
I'm sure you can.
I have the floppies, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I don't know the issue, and maybe I shouldn't even say this. I'm just not going to talk about it.
Don't say it.
I was going to say a random thing about The Walking Dead.
Stay away from it.
But when I say it, that it's going to kind of maybe ruin other stuff. So
yeah, we'll just leave it.
I mean, The Walking Dead is one of those books too. I mean, like my compendiums of The Walking Dead have been read more than any other book on my shelf because my brother, my sister-in-law, and my dad's wife all love that show and have read all of those books.
I have this because I only have the floppies, and I don't want to pull them out.
Yeah.
Every time to read them.
And I've been
Yeah,
I've been
but
contemplating, do I want that,
wait
or do I want the hardcovers?
Otherwise, I would read the volumes. If I didn't have the singles, I'd buy the volumes to read because volumes are way easier to read. But if I have the floppies, I have a hard time if they have this.
Well, he bought the
Buying the
compendium,
trades.
and he already sent me a message. He's like, I'm gonna buy the hardcovers too. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, there you go.
If you don't have the floppies, get the hardcovers. And even though I have this and the floppies, I think about buying the hardcovers.
I do too. I think about buying the hardcovers, and I think about trying to just like buy singles here or there, but it's like there's so many. I have the volumes.
It is a lot.
It's
Singles
a
are
lot.
gonna be hard, but it might be a good point
Not if they're in Spanish.
to get on. Yeah. Speaking of that,
There we go.
Yes,
Speaking of
comic-
exactly what you're talking about.
Negan does live at the end of Saga.
Yeah. Hey, numero uno.
Oh,
Uno.
nice.
which also that's a book that is not in CLZ. Fun fact.
Ugh,
That's weird.
that's annoying.
That is my least favorite thing. Like all the Scout
And it's like no.
variant covers are not in CLZ.
Ugh.
And like you can add them for your personal collection, but I don't know how to add it to actual CLZ.
Oh.
Oh,
Well.
that's weird. I don't know. I don't know how to help you. I don't have that one. Weirdly enough, I don't have the Spanish number 1 of Saga. I just have the English one. The one
I
I'm
have
able to
the
read.
5th printing and that printing.
The 5th printing and that print. What a weird.
The image first.
You know, that old. I have the 5th printing of the English and the 1st printing of.
If anybody has a first print Saga that they want to let go really cheap, you can sell it to me and make Cole really mad.
That would be something if you and me both had 1st printing number 1s. And Cole just goes shit.
I'm just
Like, it's
bummed
not
that I
even my
didn't buy
favorite
one. Like
on book.
I saw
But I
when I
have.
was
Yeah,
like
whatever.
literally when I was here, I think I brought like $500 to C2E2 to buy shit.
And you
maybe
didn't spend it
300.
all on Saga number 1.
Well, there was a Saga number 1 that was
I
like
ever,
a
like-
9.6 graded. That was
Ooh.
like 200, and I didn't pull the trigger.
You should have bought that.
You should have.
I lose
Do you
sleep
wake up
about
in a
that
cold
occasionally.
sweat like 9.6?
Which is the weird thing about like C2E2. Like I love C2E2 for what it is. You get to meet like a bunch of cool people. But if you want to go and like long bin dive, that is not the convention
Yeah,
for you.
Steve's got one for you.
Or
for
got
me.
one for you. Yeah, for you.
Steve's
Steve,
got
you
one.
sending that to me? How good of a friend am I to you?
Oh boy.
Not that good. You're not
Yeah.
that good of a friend to me, or I'd give it to you, honestly. I don't have.
Did
a
you
big
say
enough
I'm
friend.
not that good of a friend to be worth to give it
Not
to me?
Not a $500 friend.
Yeah, I don't have any friends good enough for that. I have my wife. I would give my wife that, and that's only because it stays in my property.
You shouldn't say it like that. You should say, "This is a book in my collection I don't want to give up."
Well, I think that about my whole collection, but I was trying to hurt you.
Now I'm just gonna go visit Steve, and I'm just gonna try and steal that the whole time. It's gonna be like a weird issue of like
You show
Ocean.
up with
It's Ocean's 1.
you show up with like a black turtleneck and like gloves on, and you're like, "Hi, ready to hang out?"
We're gonna ladder match. I'm gonna
Yes!
get you two to show up. We're
And
gonna
it's-
burrito bomb Steve through a table.
The
and I'm
Saga
gonna
number
steal
1
that issue of
hanging
Saga,
in a briefcase above. Amazing.
and I'll give Nick all my doubles.
Sweet. I'm in.
You get a Spanish number 1.
I'm
Well, I
in.
have, like,
I'm in.
I have an issue like 2,
He's only got one of
3,
those.
8, and like 7.
But I really want 2 number 1s.
I saw a
I think it's
huge
only
one on Facebook that was so cheap that it was like this just can't be real. Like it was just it was like a quarter an issue. It was all but it was like 7 through 52 for like $80 or something like that, and it was just like
I got lucky.
this just can't be real. It just can't be real.
A
So
friend of mine had like 2 through 36, and I think he sold me them for $100 shipped.
I found it like the week after I got burned on the Ice Cream Man stuff, so it was like,
How does Poser have a first print of Saga #1?
We all have one, but you guys.
He's like, I just bought one off eBay, actually.
He just got one from Steve, some guy named Steve Hayner.
Some guy named Steve sold it to him for $30. He traded him some My Little Ponies for it. Traded him a bunch of Ren and Stimpy books.
I mean, I only really started getting into Ren and Stimpy
We all
because
just
of
start
like
trading with Cole's gloves.
So
Cole's
actually,
favorite things are our currency now.
I like the one weird thing now. Oh yeah, dude, I have the image
Oh.
first too. I literally pointed to that.
That
That's
doesn't
not a
count.
first print, dude.
That doesn't count, Poser. It is
No,
a first
image.
printing. It is a first printing, technically.
The first print.
Well, it's crazy too. Like Nick
It's
was
so
talking.
not the same.
So the one thing though is like I was thinking about this while we were talking to David.
Cole's fizzling because we
I
talked
don't either.
about business problem.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Flash Ray. I don't have not a single one.
If we were to redo most influential comic books, I would probably Calvin and Hobbes is like, why didn't I even think of that? Because my dad loved that book and he like gave it to me and was like, read this. I think you might like it.
Yeah.
So you'd put that in your influential?
Instead of
Because that was like one of the first books I read.
Yeah, he would
because
do it
my
over
dad's
Saga.
like, hey, I'm reading this. Here's this.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, that's basically how my Nightfall thing was a thing. So yeah, I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. My dad was like, he read Calvin and Hobbes and Dilbert.
I think my favorite thing about Spencer and Locke is because we don't get any more Calvin and Hobbes. And since Sam Waterston is so tight, like his estate will not allow anything to be made from it. Like they're very tight about it. They don't allow TV, media. It's very serious that it doesn't get to be anything else. I love seeing this homage to it because I want more Calvin and Hobbes. And I think we live in a time when enough people love something, there's like a million iterations of it.
Yeah.
And this is one of the few things where it's like, this is really all it is.
And I don't know if he said this during the interview, but he said when he makes books like that, he makes sure that the original property at least okays his general pitch. So like you saying what you're saying,
no, but
I'm assuming
they would be okay with an
off-branded different version, yeah.
Yes, but there will never be a Calvin and Hobbes movie. Like it won't say Calvin and Hobbes. It won't be Calvin and Hobbes. So that's why I love this so much, and like I wouldn't be surprised if they love it because it's also a comic book. It's not him being like, "Hey, can I make a movie that's kind of like this?" He's going, "Hey, you know that thing that's really awesome?" In the same way that he made it, I want to make it in that same way too. So I can kind of see why the estate would see Spencer and Locke different than like MGM going, "Hey, I really want to make a Calvin and Hobbes live action movie." Those are very different things.
Saga #1, image first, $5.50 or best offer with free shipping.
$550 or $5.50?
$5.50.
Those are different.
So Cole, if you don't have the image firsts #1,
dude, it's literally right here.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah. Yes, you do have that. I don't.
He's pointed that out at least 4 times.
I thought you said you just had the.
I have the Spanish, the 5th printing, and the image.
The 69th printing of #1.
No, he has that of Sex Criminals.
Well, it's crazy too because the 5th printing, when I bought it, I got it for like, I mean, I got this like 4 years ago for like $20.
$12? Oh, okay.
And now it's like going for
no
50, 60
That'll
bucks.
still be something, yeah.
Yeah.
Did
And
somebody invite this idiot over here?
I maybe brought this guy in.
Rosie, you want to go with your #1?
Cyber bullied the shit out of me.
I thought that we should bring up the energy, so I brought Igor on.
Yeah.
I'm Piglet, obviously. I hope you like this new fucking tail, bro.
Oh no, hams everywhere.
No!
All my hams are still warm. My wife didn't put any in the fridge.
Put your
because
hams in the air. Put your
I'll be
hands in
back
the
in
air.
a second to unhams my hands.
He's got
Well,
ham
you're going
hands.
back in timeout.
He's got ham hands.
Classic poser entrance.
Classic ham hands.
I almost kind of too.
I'm
Another
calling
thing
him
I
ham
wanted to
hands
bring
from
up
now on.
is that Jared Lujan also said his burrito he would make would be, I forget what it was, but it was a certain bean and rice burrito that is big in Texas that they eat with Big Red, which is a soda. I thought he was talking about a gum, but it is a soda of some sort. But
sad walk poser. Oh, he's got a towel.
so since Steve's here, I'm just gonna make a quick pitch. If you guys are into joining a comic book reading club, we're gonna read Silver Surfer, Parable.
I have not read any Silver Surfer, so
This is the 30th
down to
year
do that.
edition. Stan Lee wrote it with
Stan Lee, is he new?
Mobius, and I'm pretty sure Mobius is like the Jock of the 80s.
Yeah.
Neat. I like Jack.
I mean, their artwork is nothing alike, but he's like one of those one-name dudes that like was making great art in the 80s. And this is, once again, this is a $14 book. It's cheaper on Amazon for like maybe 3 issues, but it's a classic, and it's classic summer.
I'll check it. It's only 3.
Hit me up.
I'll read it.
It's probably on your thing that you have.
On the Marvel.
The Marvel. But if you're Facebook friends with
On the
me,
Marvel. On the Marvel.
Nick probably owns it.
If it's Marvel,
He
I
hasn't
probably
made it to that pile.
I do own some Marvel.
I would
own some
assume that he
Marvel.
doesn't, because this book didn't come out until like August 18th, because we were originally planning on reading it in August, and the only other version was like $100.
Yikes.
Star-Lord. I cosplay as Star-Lord, so I love Marvel.
Do I need to just turn around and point to
Yeah.
and be like,
Point.
I
oh,
mean,
hey, I got a new slab in the middle of the day.
This
check
is
this out though.
this is some Boom Studios merch I got.
Nice.
It's not. It's just Power Ranger stuff.
I'll take it.
No, I've had it since I was like 5.
I may be converted to the ways of the Power Rangers.
It's morphin' time. Mine's not as cool as Bert's,
Oh, you're
but he can go
opening this-
fuck off. Because mine's from when I was 5 and a real fan. I'm calling Bert out.
New Frontier. Yeah, that artwork was great.
Not true.
It
This
was
is
a
actually
great
when I was
like
8 'cause it was the
Silver
movie.
Age,
Ooh,
Gold Age.
you're opening
homage.
something?
I was a
Yeah.
huge fan
Oh,
of the
you're
overall
opening
story,
something.
but
Yeah.
I think it's worth a read,
Oh, that's
right?
got
Would we all
actual
agree
stuff
that like
in there.
New Frontier is worth the read? Maybe
Is this
the
a
art
mystery?
is amazing.
Is this a mystery poser?
I was drunk and forgot what it is.
Nice. So it is a
Nice.
mystery. Blackout purchases.
And
Ooh,
I might put
that's
this
cool.
back in the package and do a fake unboxing, since there's some extra random things in there.
I'm gonna jump on that video and be like, "You opened that Saturday."
No,
Yeah.
Apple,
Live
you're a
stream with the
psychic.
greatest.
The store.
Look at you and your random Marvel you have.
When he was talking about how
Oh.
like good the random threes of the Wizard of Oz was gonna be, I was gonna be like kind of like us,
So
Yeah.
it's my first one of these.
but I hadn't finished a beer. Is that a CBCS?
No.
Have you read this then?
Oh man.
If you're getting into the Power Ranger
Yeah.
stuff,
Is that a signature?
Yeah.
we need to talk about this at some point.
Who signed it?
Ooh, cool.
Open it up. Let's see.
Yeah, I need a better
What's
look
that
at it. Yeah, just smashes it. Use the chisel. Deathlock. Cool.
That's neat.
Mike Perkins.
Yeah.
That's cool.
the answer to who
Todd
is if
I don't know.
if
Sorry, I can.
if,
I don't know if it's the damn Fogler.
If Cyborg and Deadshot had a baby and then Marvel ripped it off, that's what Deathlock is. But I bought it last week on the Jabroni auction. Andrew, it's good.
It's so good.
What I hadn't
growing.
gotten a good answer to are the events of Draken New Dawn going to impact both Mighty Morphin and Go-Go?
And Go-Go, yeah.
But I've added both of them.
It has to, right? It has to, correct?
Isn't Go-Go more of one of the ones that they market towards kids a bit more?
Well,
Yeah,
Saban.
Yeah,
And I know that who's the guy that does Dead Day?
Ryan Parrott.
Ryan Parrott had mentioned that when Saban's on it, it's a little bit harder. Like this is in the Lost in Comics interview. He specifically mentioned when Saban's name's on it, it's harder to create a story. Loosely said that they're more closed for what they let you do.
Yeah, but I have to assume it affects both. That's
the one this week I have to figure out. Like,
I know it's not defined, but I think it will.
Yeah, because right now there's nothing to do with Draken and what just happened in Mighty Morphin this week. That it was literally like, here are the Dark Super Rangers.
I poured that for Nick, and he wasn't.
And like 10 pages in, somebody stabs Rita, and it's a fake Clay Rita.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ooh.
Which is genius. If I was Rita, I'd have at least 7 of me just going around. It'd be like my Horcrux.
I read like 60 books this week, and my brain is just dead. So Wednesday, I went to my LCS and picked up just my DC because he had some shipping issues. Then I went over to I guess they're my second LCS now because I've got a pull list there.
Yeah, that definitely makes it a
dual pull list.
Yeah.
This fucking guy.
Look at the big balls on Poser.
Trace.
I have 3 now because there's one that's right next to my school. But I'm using that third store to pull B covers. So
God.
hit not of everything, but like
you're pulling a call.
Don't be crazy.
He does pull more B covers than I do at this point.
Oh,
his
for sure.
pull list is set up through the previews like website. So essentially, if I'm reading the catalog online, I can click on stuff. So like not enough people at my shop are reading Philadelphia. So
that's crazy.
He doesn't. Yeah.
I don't.
But
think
it also got in its
necessarily...
tight when the college kids left town.
Oh.
So like I'm getting all of my A covers from Jason, but then I can specifically order the B covers through
Sean Alexander.
No. Yeah. Yes. Jason
I'm
Sean
getting
Alexander runs my LCS.
Those were the books I still haven't read.
I'm getting over Philadelphia from Jason.
But and then I read the indies that I knew I had to read to like listen to y'all or Lost that the other store had.
We don't.
And apparently, Lost in Comics is taking a page out of our book.
Yeah.
But I even said when I was talking to them,
they're not here to be upset about me saying that, but they did say that they like because that's the one thing we always say. And I know when Oscar was in, he goes, "Please don't spoil anything," and I was like, "Yo, dog, we literally don't." Like, I mean, Granted,
If we ever
we'll talk
do,
about stuff.
we have a bit. We say spoiler.
We make a
Yeah.
big deal of it.
We let people leave or do whatever they need to do.
If
But
you
like-
think we're gonna spoil, this will happen.
And we'll do a countdown. 5, 4. 2, 2, 2, 2.
You
He
might
was
have to
dead the
redo that
whole
now.
time.
Unfortunately, due to our new rebrand.
Yeah, I'm
If
kinda
you haven't
pissed.
noticed, check out our YouTube channel. You'll see some cool stuff. Come into the Discord. You'll see our avatars change.
They're literally.
Todd spent a lot of hard work. Let's all give him a round of applause.
Yeah, I like how Andy got one. and
Poser,
I
why the
didn't.
fuck aren't you? You didn't fucking ask for one,
it.
dude.
I didn't know I had to. I thought
Just
I
make it
was
a piece.
and a side of queso enough where you would have been like, here's this thing.
Poser, for the record, I would have made you one if I knew how to.
I probably wouldn't. I would have made you beg.
No,
But
I honestly was like, Poser's. I even thought about Poser, and I was just like, you know what? If he wants one after seeing that, he'll be like, he would do literally what he's doing right here, and he'd be like, why the fuck does he get one and I don't? So I was like,
I have to
been
show
waiting
up
for
on
that.
your stream or in your live chat and play the victim. Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been waiting for. So you'll have one probably tomorrow.
Can we talk about the Metal Shark Bro real quick?
Yeah.
Yes, Metal Shark Pro Brigade, which sucks. I really have to pee.
Which was
But-
super weird because I didn't show up, and then this was a thing that happened in our fucking Discord.
Yeah,
and
it's
I was
on
like,
our
what the
Discord.
fuck did I miss?
Well,
Well, and the weird thing was when I showed up to the live stream, I saw that there were 4
Yeah.
people in
It
it.
progressed.
but
Yeah,
And I was
because
like,
there's
who
Wes
the
and
fuck else
Poser.
was in there?
Wes and
Yeah,
Poser.
Wes. I
Posted
thought.
on
I just
Twitter.
like.
Because I can't remember where it started.
Andrew
but
and Wes,
Check
if you
your
want
butt.
one, just tell me and I'll make you
What-
one too.
one of the two writers put something on Twitter, and my response was like, hey, if we created a fan club, could we get some like cool t-shirts and shit? And he was like, I bet if enough people join on, we can get this. And I was like, oh, fucking challenge accepted.
Wait, they don't have Metal Shark Bro t-shirts on Scout?
They might. I said,
He's saying he wants stuff. Yeah, he's saying
Oh.
Yeah. he's talking about getting exclusive things, not things that are on the shop.
Well, I was gonna say, man, like Scout literally has like merch for everything.
They do.
Like, hey, you want a fucking cell phone for the
Oh,
like,
yeah. You
want a
for this
cell
new
phone?
fucking
Here's an iPhone.
book that hasn't came out? It's
I
fucking
opened up the press release for like whatever on the farm that they announced last weekend.
Frank on the farm.
Yeah.
Frank at
And I-
home on the farm.
I wrote that up and clicked on the store, and I was like, they have a lot of shit.
They have a lot of shit.
Yeah, that's the specific book I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Also,
Yeah.
Flash Ray, can you just say I'm Andrew again? Because I wanted to find your original thing, and I couldn't put it up when we're talking about avatars.
Oh, are we talking about Avatar? Terrible movie, amazing show.
I
The
like
blue one or the normal one?
I
like
yeah.
but
He's
yeah,
talking
that
about like the
escalated.
first Airbender. And
Yeah.
we're talking about blue people gone with or dances with wolves.
talking about Alien Pocahontas.
No,
Yeah.
it's blue people dances with wolves.
I haven't seen that.
You've never seen Dances with the Wolves?
I don't know. I don't remember it.
It's a very long movie that
I-
involves the guy who.
Do you like Kevin Costner?
Yes.
Probably not.
No, I prefer Kevin Costner.
I don't.
Captain Holt's husband.
I don't not like Kevin Costner.
That's like his
No.
biggest movie, maybe?
I
I
can't
don't
say I have any.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any personal gripes with the man. I don't.
Don't like this as much as I'm Andrew, but we'll take it.
I'm Flash Ray.
I'm Batman.
Flash Ray, are you gonna try? Are you gonna try to get the other copies of Philadelphia? Our shop might still have some.
They had the B cover. I didn't see it there when I went.
No, he only has the B cover for 7.
Oh yeah, we had a ton.
They had a. I don't think they have the full 1 through 6 anymore, but they
Is
have,
Vault bigger than Scout, Poser?
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
because Vault's been around a while, like
Vault's
a
more of a
long
mainstay.
time.
They've got
Yeah.
shit already going for sure. Why are you asking Poser? What the fuck, man?
John.
I don't know. I just asked. He reads a lot of Vault books and he reads a lot of Scout books.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard you talk about Vault books that much.
Because neither of you read Vault books.
I read Money Shot.
I know, and we've talked Money Shot before. I just already talked about Heavy Maggle.
Maggle.
I already talked about enough random shit, Gunland and everything, and we can't talk about it. I can just be like, blah, this is really good, blah.
Look, I
scream into the void and I sound like fucking Poser.
I'm an iPad Pro way of my own that I don't steal from my wife. To reading slightly more than Todd does in a given week.
Oh, you're an iPad Pro. I get the sentence now. You're an iPad Pro away from reading more than me. I got it.
Yeah. Because I've started. So
we got to be close. We got to compare. We have to like measure streams at some point because it's got to be already close, and I'm digital.
I think in the month of August,
I don't even want to talk about.
I'm around 226 books on the month.
I am
112.
I am above you, but by not much.
I'll probably catch you tonight or tomorrow because I've got this stack that I just showed you. That's some Turtles and X-Men stuff that I have. And then, like, my fantasy football draft was happening today, and I was like, fuck, I didn't go pick up the rest of my indies for the week. So I went and picked up. I spent $200 on new books this week. I have a fucking problem.
Start.
Yeah. The only thing that wasn't new in that stack that I bought, what's the newest? The Batman The Adventure Continues. I picked up
you didn't
those.
get that?
I picked up those three for the first time this week. And then I bought the Wolvenheart trade.
Did you get that Deathstroke cover?
No.
Number 2.
Just A?
No.
Well, that is the A cover.
Oh, then yeah. It's in
the Sean Phillips one.
Oh, yeah.
Or Sean Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy. Sean Phillips.
Sean Phillips is probably a better artist.
Oh, Cole's officially drunk.
You don't agree with that?
No, it's just how you said that and how you were just like out there.
I missed it.
You're just like,
is Cole now going to disappear
Sean
in like the
Phillips
last
probably
30 minutes of the stream?
I'm going to take my shirt off if you're into that.
Oh man. Wow, we all of a sudden have 30 viewers. That's weird. I don't understand. Oh, just the outside.
You know what I'm
it's
pissed
just
about?
neck. It's bare neck. Clavicle.
Last night, I was all excited to sit down after everybody in my fucking house fell asleep to watch Bill and Ted Face the Music.
How was it?
And then my son woke up.
Oh,
and by the time I got him to fall back asleep, my wife was watching some show on Netflix about selling beachfront properties in the Hamptons. So that ended.
It was a good show.
So tonight, Charlie was screaming his head off, so she was in with him. I was trying to get my daughter asleep, and Toby got real, like, passive-aggressive pissed that nobody would come snuggle him. So all three of us fell asleep on my daughter's floor, and that's why I showed up 59 minutes late to the interview.
Go back and watch it, though.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, I am one of the 5. I'm back on a Kickstarter binge because you should go back the Ninja Nuns because that's a spinoff from Metal Shark Bro. And then I've been...
Nick, he's talking about The Adventure Continues. The Deathstroke cover that I asked him about.
Got it. Got it.
But then there was another Kickstarter
because I dropped it.
Yeah, that's when
writing.
2's worth more than 1.
Because Peter posted something about how that cover is going for $25 right now on eBay.
Which one?
Number 2 of The Adventure Continues.
Yeah.
Of A?
Yeah, it's the Deathstroke one.
A cover gang, what up?
Dude, A covers are better than all other covers.
That's
mostly.
why I just do A cover. I never regret it. Because
I mean, even Nick was saying with that.
Well, you don't get to
killing
pick
the
between
children.
A and B cover
Why
on
is
your iPad.
3 going
so.
for $15 now?
I used to always get variants because I thought they were like rare.
And I do sometimes.
And
They are, I mean,
now-
I'll get one if it's cool as hell.
Now I only get it if it's an artist that I really like, or if it's just so badass that I have to have it. Otherwise, I usually.
But even that's
This
inconsistent
is a
because
comic
I've
book.
been.
And this is also a comic book I'm going to give away soon.
Ooh, I want it.
It's a black #1 from Black Mask Studios. At some
Can I
point,
roll
this
a
is going to be
D20
given
on
away
it?
soon.
You mean you as a white savior are trying to monetize off of black struggle?
Is that what giving away is?
You do not get it.
Yes?
Do I have to make one of those things?
Don't. It's stupid because it doesn't hold up like this. So now it's just like this.
Oh,
So
are we
can I
talking?
just
Are we talking dice trays?
can
Well,
I
mine
just
is
throw
a
dice
book
on
that
my
I got
desk?
at Goodwill. I made this for a total of like $4. Granted, it's got a weird cum stain right here.
Mine does too, but it's underneath.
It's his own.
Yeah,
No, it's
that's what
what's
he
that
does to all of his
stuff that you
Goodwill
use
stuff
do
to market.
this?
Yeah,
What do they call
Mine
that?
now.
Cole was conjuring
Does anyone
up his
craft?
own gelatinous cube.
Ah,
Pretty much
yeah,
paste,
dude.
but what is it called?
He made his own Tanglefoot.
Hey, Joey.
Oh, sup? No, we don't. So this is a
Check on
the
Todd
dice
in
tray.
like 4 hours to see if he ever sleeps.
This is a dice tray that I bought, and it just came with stupid foam. Just today, I added
Mod
leather.
Podge.
I added leather to it.
Ooh.
So I took the foam out and I cut out the leather.
Look,
What?
Is that from SB?
It's not. It was a $10 piece of leather from Amazon.
I spent $10 on dice, and I still don't know why.
Mine. Look at. I got these.
$10?
I got these Green Lantern inspired dice.
Yeah, how does the Green Lantern feel that you're cheating on him tonight with a Wonder Woman shirt?
Oh, he wishes he could get with her. It's fucking hell. Carol Ferris is off like killing people with love. He just wants to feel warm.
Is that what your dice look like, Poser?
Oh shit!
Yeah, and Andrew, I like to.
Oh my God! Hold
to
up
try
a
to
second.
get ones.
Fucking
Like if I
focus.
start getting B covers, I like to get all the B covers. If I start getting A
What?
covers, I like to get all the A covers.
But what I was
Our
about to
dice
say,
are very
I don't
similar.
have any dice. I don't have any.
kind of on this A versus B cover thing before Todd decided to whip it out,
Whoa.
was that even if there's an artist that you like on a B cover, the value is very, very inconsistent. Like,
Yeah.
I've started learning a lot about the value of books because of auctioning stuff off. And there will be non-key books that will randomly spike from an author on like the 2B cover will spike, and then they'll do the A cover for a couple of issues, and the cover will be arguably infinitely better, and it won't have like the monetary value tied to the back of it, even if the book is more of a key from a collection standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah, I don't get it. I always
Nope.
thought the variants.
That's why I get A covers and I don't fucking care about it.
Yeah.
A cover gang, what?
Because you don't want to have two digital versions of the same file on your iPad.
Yeah, that'd be tough. Then I'd be confused. Like, did I already read this, or is it new?
Do I need to read Philadelphia 7B after reading 7A?
Yeah. Is the story different? That's why Cole bought all the variants in the beginning when he started collecting. Because the story is different in the variants.
Oh, and now that Chris is
It's
Chris
an ad.
is
But it's extra paid.
well, we can go back to one of the other 12 tangential things. First, Chris, I saw what you said at Edwin's funeral today, and it was killer, my guy. But when they were on my show Thursday night, when they got railroaded by Rob Wurst in a Joker box. They said the same thing to me. Like when both of you are doing your reviews, like you are both very non-spoilery, but I'm like, oh, I'll be back in 10 minutes because, like even the tiniest hint of the story or the little bit of the art that may be shown, especially in Lost's case.
I said we don't even show art. Like maybe the cover. That's the most we'll do.
No, but it's like I need
maybe an occasional page.
Yeah, but like I need that moment, and that's why when I do like my Monday videos where I do what y'all do on Thursdays or Wednesday nights, I am okay giving away a little bit more information, but I'm still just picking random panels when I want to go, oh, this is kind of cool, or you'll never guess who shows up. But I'm that, like, I don't want anything beyond, like, the paragraph that is in the previews magazine getting into my head.
We don't go too far than that, but I hear what you're saying.
And when we do, it's usually something that's from, like, 5 years ago, too.
Yeah.
It's a very old book.
I gave double thumbs up to that.
No, I know, but I want to go back to it because I agree. Someone's theatrics, I think, swayed a couple of the judges. And Rapido having a Joker short box, just because you have paraphernalia from one, doesn't. Just because if you look back here, it's not everything isn't Green Lantern.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean Green Lantern's not my favorite.
I will say,
because I have a Star-Lord mask, does
but
that mean I
also,
prefer Marvel?
If Adrian would have brought up the fact that, like, multiple times Oscar has gone on camera and said Joker is one of his favorite characters, then maybe that would be like, you didn't even remove this short box. That would be a good talking point.
Yeah.
Maybe, I could say.
But that's the problem with the debate is it wasn't who's my favorite character.
Yeah.
It's who's the best nemesis. So that doesn't even though he would say, even if he looked right at the camera and went, Joker is the best or is my favorite villain, does not degrade his argument of
which I think he did say that after the thing was over.
Those don't correlate. Those aren't the same argument. Whereas saying I don't know shit about Robin, that deflates your entire argument.
Where every time I had to look over at my piece of paper with the right Robin that Greg was defending, because I was like, fucking Tim, Dick, John, Steve,
John
Kensington. But the best thing to come from Lost losing is the debate that we get between Bearded and Adrian, or Greg and Adrian, is
that's going to be so
who is the better comic book animal, Lion Cat or Pizza Dog?
They're so good. I think the hardest thing is that Pizza Dog is like very minimal, where at least Lion Cat has 50-ish issues that it shows up in.
But are any of those 50 issues with the impact of Lion Cat as good as that one Pizza Dog?
Yes.
The fact that Nick said yes to that means that that's the right answer. Because Nick was like, literally put Hawkeye in his most influential books because of Pizza Dog alone.
Yeah, that was funny. But to be fair, also the next day after he watched it, he was like, yeah, I probably made the wrong choice.
Well, my problem with that, with my influential list, is I tried to categorize things out. So, like, I didn't want 2 Batman stories in my most influential books. So, like, Hawkeye...
I get that.
That run would be probably my favorite Marvel run that I've ever read. So it was like I felt like I had to put that in there as like my Marvel pick.
Yeah, you were balancing like this is my indie, this is my DC,
and I think
that's how you were. You were drunk that night. And that's how you decided to to rank things.
Yeah, because you guys we took a break and we were like in your garage and you're like, oh, I know the next one. Let's talk about our most influential comics. And I'm like,
we had slightly talked about it before then.
Yeah, and you were like, I got a list. I got a top 6.
We're gonna do this now, like 2 weeks
after we finished a 15-pack, the Michigan 24-pack.
Yeah.
Because in the Midwest,
good picks.
Packs are 15.
Good picks.
Yeah.
I would probably pick.
I probably wouldn't know about it.
He doesn't know about the 15 packs?
No, the Midwest.
Oh. I thought the argument was always that if Michigan or not is. I thought Kansas was very firmly in the Midwest.
I'm just making a silly point.
Oh, you're going after Kansas is in the Midwest?
No, I don't care.
That's a debate. That's a debate I would love for you to go. Is Kansas is not in the Midwest? That'd be fun.
I'm just saying, the Michigan and Ohio are great Midwestern states.
We are great Midwestern states. That's what my high school education taught me.
Some might say we're the best.
Some might say. Hey, we
got Great Lakes. Those are great.
Both made the same point.
See, we don't have lakes, which makes us geographically distinct.
All
of our lakes
true, because only Maryland is the only state in the United States that doesn't have a naturally made body of water that is considered a lake.
Also, how does
are you still mad that you lost on that question in the fucking geography bee in the 5th grade?
No, you said that lakes weren't a thing. So I literally Googled what states don't have lakes.
You said that
Maryland's the only state that doesn't have
to learn about this.
Cole needs the new burrito avatar, and instead of it saying "I'm Cole," but actually, like. The number of times in a stream or a video and Cole is the but actually guy.
Yeah, I like you both going after each other at the exact same time. It's good TV.
I'm gonna since Kevin is in the chat, you should go back and watch the Artist Alley chat from today, because not only did they have an interesting Kickstarter that was featured that made me hungry because of what all of the tiers were called, but they were talking about somebody who was putting together a new indie funding platform to get rid of a lot of the financial strings that exist on a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo. And I really think it could be one of those things where instead of us all talking about backing something on one of those 2 sites in about 2 years, we're all going to be talking about that one. And I'm going to see if I think I saved the link, and it's called Indie Crowdfund. Let's see, open a new tab. That as they were talking to, I think it's the guy who was the driving force behind it. I was just sitting there I got into looking at the financial side of things, and, I knew how much highway robbery happened from there.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But there's the link, and it was something that was kind of cool, and I'll see if I can grab the link to.
Is it with Adrian Agent Petty?
It was their interview with Pop Van Zant today. So if it's not showing up, it could be one of those weird all live stream limbo things.
Yeah, we have that a lot. I don't think it's up on the site already, or YouTube at least.
No, it's in limbo. Kevin, the other thing that you could do is go create a playlist of your recent live streams, because I did that, and that's how all of the debate stuff shows up right away on my page, is it's in that playlist. But I'll see if I can pull it up from my history today, because that interview was fascinating to say
It's the one that
least.
lets you get variants.
And one too, if you weren't here earlier, we actually did have David on earlier today. So
Yeah, and it went very well. He
is
great.
an awesome dude.
Oh my goodness, he's
Yeah,
awesome.
I was wondering, Ted, I was gonna bring this up later, but I guess when it was just us. But what do you think about editing it down at all later?
I thought about just taking the interview and having it on its own. Now that we're doing all of this,
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
It'd be nice just to have it on its own, so it's more contained.
Yeah,
and it would be really easy. I would literally just chop off when he leaves, and it's like,
there you go.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean,
need to
we didn't
actually
really have a
edit it.
lot of like dry points in there.
No.
You might have to. So one of the reasons when I went through that string of videos where my audio and video didn't match up is because I was trying to process some stuff that got recorded through StreamYards. So go chop your interview up and then rewatch it, and if not, run it through Handbrake. Yeah. But like, I still have to go in and put chapters in, because my interview with the guys from Vlad Dracul lasted 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because they had cool ass stories to tell. I was just sitting there like, wait, you've been to all of these places? So like, I know to make that more user friendly, I need to go put in some of those chapters where it's like, if you don't give a fuck about Andrea talking about everything that he's done in 31 years of art, and you just want like the 45 minutes that's dedicated to Vlad, then check out this.
Sure.
But apparently book 3 is about to get silly.
About to be what?
It's about to get real crazy.
I still haven't read 2 because I'm waiting for my scout box to show up.
Oh. You pick up 3 because you'll want it. Because what?
It'll show up in the scout box.
Yeah, but if I'm going to want to talk about it with somebody, Cole.
And we might just maybe get a copy of it too.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I guess I could technically
We will get a copy
read
of it.
the digital copy that we have, but
yeah,
that book looks so pretty.
Yeah, and I learned that there's very little difference between the Italian version and what they've done here. But yeah, my scout binge for tomorrow is all 6 of I just pull it up and then close it. Shadow something. It was whichever one was in the email that's got number 6 dropping this week, and I was like, oh, I read Stabbity Buddy, and I looked at this, but how did I miss those books?
One of us. One of us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Are you guys going for a little while?
I need to pee. Actually, I need to pee like 20 minutes ago. So we can like
I'll go
Cole
with
and him.
God.
No, Nick was about to.
Oh man,
I haven't even gone yet.
Yeah, Nick
Nick's
hasn't
gonna
gone
go
yet,
grab
and I
some-
called it minutes ago.
And Nick's going to go grab some meat.
Speaking of grabbing meat, now that it's just the 2 of you, what are you thinking about? You want to see some hot neckline?
Hey,
Well, now that Todd came back, I'm gonna leave.
Stillwater, Kevin, is something that I'm really excited about.
God,
I am
you gotta leave. Just go. You're still here. We see you in the back.
I am
Backstage. Just go.
huge,
Or else I'm gonna throw you in and I'm gonna go.
Yeah, you just go away. I'll hold this down.
No, this is
all
weird.
of you go to the bathroom.
I do not trust you, man. I love
Look,
you. But
I
look at
ran-
this. Look at this. This is because of something you were doing. I saw this book, and now I own all 4 covers of the 2 issues.
Yes, I need to get those.
I got all of them for like $10 shipped, so I'm pretty okay with that.
But Kevin said check out Stillwater, and that preview was just at the end of something that came out this week. And Kevin, to tell you how big of a Chip Zdarsky fan I am, I
Oh
have
yeah, that is. No, it was.
4 of the naked variants coming in.
Can I get one of those?
Yeah. I will.
Thank you.
We'll see if I get flagged for sending Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky dong across multiple state lines.
So our shop is which is weird. They're very family oriented, so they don't get that kind of stuff. But they also, the owner of the shop's wife's favorite book is Saga.
Yeah.
And like even how Nick was talking about it, there was a picture like there's robot people have like TV screen people having sex, and the like line is, "I need you deeper, baby."
Yep.
And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "I mean, the first line of that is a pregnancy actually happening, but
well, it's not a pregnancy; it's a birth happening.
Well,
it feels like I'm taking a shit. Like I will remember that forever because I opened that and I went, "This is my kind of book."
This is what?
This is my kind of book.
Yeah. I mean, well, that was the thing. Yeah, they were like, "You should recycle." I mean, so. Yeah, I mean, there's Kill a Bladder.
I did for Department of Truth, and then what's the Kate's indie book that's coming out?
Crossover.
In like December.
That's the biggest disappointment I've ever had because I assumed we were going to get this weird, crazy, like all these image stories that was a crossover by Donny Cates. And I was maybe like, oh, God Country is going to start fucking around with rednecks? Fuck yeah.
But like, sometimes I'll hop on Dynamic Forces to look for some stuff on the cheap. And in the last 2 or 3 days, they've had a special on Crossover and Department of Truth where for like $20, you can get like 2 autographed copies of each cover and then a reader copy. And I was like, I'll invest $20 in that, especially if I like it and we'll send it out. And Kevin, you might be right that it's overhyped, but
are you saying sending it out to get pressed? Or to somebody else?
Like if I flipped it. But it coming from it will be interesting if I wanted to
crossover. Is Nick typing and peeing at the same time?
Yes.
Tight.
He says crossover is a flop, and then Nick he says that crossover is overhyped. So if you're going to the bathroom and missing us reading, then there you go. That would be silly, Chris. A Spawn Philadelphia crossover. That would be dope. Todd is a butt count. But I think crossover will be in terms of the way that I've sold some of my books and then some stuff that I just pick up is I'm gonna give fair of a price. Like everybody goes, this book is going on eBay for like $3 million. And I'll go, yeah, you can have it for $10. Crossover and a Clayton Crane Rainbow Maestro cover will be the 2 places where if I've got signed versions of those, I might be willing to let karma come back my way and let the spec market benefit me instead of spitting in its face. Because crossover will be, even if it is so overhyped, if I can make a little bit back from all of the deals that I've made across the last couple of months, I'll be okay with that.
So one of the guys that has been working at our comic book shop lately is a huge, I mean, he's a huge Big Two fan. But the weird thing is he was saying something about how like apparently Donny Cates didn't want to write the Venom issue that went into like Jason Aaron's huge thing that he ran. What was that called?
Bye, Chris.
Sorry, Chris.
Say that again. I saw Chris's.
apparently Donny Cates didn't want to write the Venom crossover to like World of Realms or whatever the big Jason Aaron thing was, and one of the guys at our comic book shop was saying that Donny Cates isn't a big enough name to do that. And I was trying to think who is bigger than Donny Cates at Marvel besides maybe like Al Ewing or maybe Dan Slott. I know people hate him,
but I think Cates' stock has gone up a lot.
I mean, he's the guy that
in the
when
last
he makes
9
book,
months,
it's worth money.
Well, yeah, and when the Black Winter event happens in the fall, the people who have just been reading Thor, or have just been reading Venom, or just read Silver Surfer Black, you're going to miss out, because where Cates is good is building his own universe and crossing all of his streams into his own shit. Like, that's why Silver Surfer Black #4 is hot right now.
I couldn't realize how big that Thanos, whatever, where the Cosmic Ghost Rider happens, how much that's worth.
Is it, what, Thanos 9?
I don't know. I got it.
Yeah.
All right.
But his stock has gone up quite a bit. Whoa. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Oh, it's like, oh, do I get to take I'm Cole's spot? No, I've been relegated to Nick territory.
We all got to be the bottom sometime.
It's true. Nick more than others.
We all, yeah. I mean, I prefer it.
Yeah. We just do what we're meant to do.
Cole told me he didn't trust me being on your stream by myself, and I was like, hey, remember that one time that Todd and I tried to have Poser Burrito After Dark, and my daughter pissed the bed, and he talked about, like, pinball for 45 minutes and was like, no, I'm having a really good time.
Yeah, it went really well. It was a good time.
It's like Ron Swanson in Parks and Rec when she passes out.
Yeah, it was the most 2:30 in the morning viewers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to show you how to re-wicker this chair.
Yep. Yeah. Over, under, over, and then under.
Yeah.
No, I remember those were good times, man. That was the
I'd say we should do that again sometime, but I don't want to have to deal with my 3-year-old pissing the bed and crying for like 4 hours.
Yeah, your side is a lot harder than mine.
Like, I'll just open a stream on my channel and we'll call it like Uncle Todd's Happy Fun Hour. Because was that the night we didn't go right after, like, I tried to record a video and it was my sleepiest, like, here's what I read this week and what I liked. And then the fucking sky fell down.
This was really good comic book.
Yeah.
This book was good.
Read it. I own it. I haven't read this yet.
But see, you all really need to, I think I'm done with StreamYard because my computer is too slow and I'm too dumb to figure, or Streamlabs to figure it out. So, like, I went through one day and set up, like, the merch store for free. You can do all of that on Redbubble. So I really think you should make your Comic Burrito Redbubble store and make a Reddit I Own It shirt. One that is Cole's pug shirt, but with the mustache on the pug.
We have incoming
good idea.
announcement upcoming in the next probably week or two.
We have an upcoming merch, announcement upcoming.
This is the preview of the preview.
Yeah. It's the teaser trailer. Batman Ego.
I'm announcing that we're going to have an announcement soon.
Oh.
I see
Yeah,
what you did there,
Nate,
good sir.
Nate Lawson, Chosker.
That happened a while ago. Chris's wife was like, "Get off your damn phone."
Yeah.
And I think that happened while we were talking about like Fraction Zdarsky Dong.
This might be my new favorite cover in my collection.
That's pretty dope.
It is a classic.
Nice.
I'm just going to show you these books I picked up today.
Do it.
Yeah, do it.
Nice.
Some old Batman.
I'm
like
definitely not going
Is
to
that
just
a red
play some
box?
Injustice while you do that.
Oh, I left my
Are
phone
you doing the
upstairs.
raid?
Oh, I finished it.
Oh.
With one character.
Yeah.
It's
Ooh,
done.
what do you know about that Two-Face?
Ooh, he's shooting a laser gun, apparently.
Can you guess which Robin this is?
That's Tim. That's Tim.
It is not. It is Jason Todd.
Oh, that's literally actually what I meant to say.
Can you guess what Robin this
Poser
is?
broke me.
Yeah, that was the thing
Dick
that
Grayson.
I'm pretty sure that's
confused me the
Jason Todd.
most in reading 3 Jokers this week, because there was a Red Hood and a Robin, and wasn't there a Nightwing nod? And I was like, fuck,
God,
I
this
don't
one's
know
for
who
you.
was this.
Oh my God, you're getting into it. Yes, that's the beginnings of Nightfall. That's like the prelude.
And then these were actually free. Which I think I have 2 copies of this.
Nice.
What? Nice.
Cool.
Tomasi did an annual apparently on the new 52.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
my Power Girl's a level is a 4-star now.
Nice. It's so nice having the 2 4-stars. What is her for you? Because mine is, she's way better than my Dr. Fate.
Oh, she's 37,000. My Dr. Fate is 36,000. They're like right back to back.
We appreciate the dedication, Flash Ray.
Oh, hey.
Hey, I've done something similar, except it was 5-year-old and peen. But
You can get a Punchline #1 signed by James Tynion on pre-order for $19.39.
that's a good deal.
Is it?
I don't know.
Which one? Like the Hell's Arisen one?
No,
Oh, no, the
there's a
actual
Punchline
Punchline
#1 coming out.
Yeah, it's a one shot. I'll grab it.
Yeah, no. Are we talking about Batman Ego? Sorry, I've been.
What is Batman Ego?
It's
Comic book.
yeah, it's the comic book that inspired Reeves's
Yeah.
movie.
Who wrote that?
So it's
DC.
fuck.
Well,
I'm
that's who
about to
published
sneeze.
it.
Thank you, but actually, I was being funny.
Thank you, but actually, I'm being funny. Who wrote it? Because I've only read it. I'm not like this isn't my forte.
Own it. I read it.
Read it. I don't own it because it's not my.
Batman Ego. Nothing comes up on DC Universe.
Paul
Heyman?
Christ. Yeah, Paul Heyman. It's not.
Somebody
a comic book.
told me he
It's
is
a movie.
now managing Roman
Darwin
Reigns.
Cook.
Ooh, spoiler alert! But yeah, that
Darwin
is true.
Cook also wrote New Frontier.
Wes, what is it regular Batman run? Is it something I can search for?
It's Batman Ego.
It doesn't come up on DC Universe.
It's on Amazon.
Batman
It's
Ego,
Batman
and
Ego and
Other
Other
Tales,
Tales.
but TAILS.
Hmm.
It's a collection. Darwin Cook, author and illustrator.
Andrew, are you talking
published
He
by
about-
did
DC.
the color. I think he just did the art maybe on New Frontier.
Is it
Are you
Rebirth
Tom
85?
King's? Yeah, Rebirth, Tom King's 85. Like,
So it's the last Tom King book?
yeah.
We might have a copy at our shop if that's what it is.
Batman Ego Cat Sling's big score 10.
People want that?
Gotham Knights 23 and 33. I mean, some people.
I mean, it's better than the current run of Batman for sure.
No.
Bat. Cat.
I would maybe say that it's better than Scott Snyder's run on Batman, but I might be a minority.
You would be vast minority of that.
I don't know if that's entirely true.
At least here.
I know that the owner of the Vault of Midnight would agree with me. The one that wasn't a bad person.
The one that wasn't a bad person. Oh.
And I don't know how that even relied on what happened.
Oh, do I need to buy the Special Detective comics that's coming out soon?
Yes.
You don't have to, but you
The
probably
20
will.
I mean, you should.
You will die if you don't get it.
Like Batman.
I mean, it's just kind of
4
janky
million
that they did like a
appearance.
back-to-back on that. Because they did the one for the 1000.
Yeah.
I mean, those are good, though.
1027?
Yeah,
1027. What is it, like the 1000th appearance
Batman's
of Batman?
1000th appearance, yeah.
I'm not going to buy that.
That's like a lot.
That's just a excuse to sell
Probably-
books.
It's
It's
the
probably
same
just a
thing
rough
as the
estimate.
Green Lantern book that we just recently talked about, the
Yeah.
Joker book that we recently just talked
No, that
about,
That
or
was
the
80th
Catwoman.
anniversary.
This is different. That's the anniversary. This is
The
appearance.
1000th issue.
no,
No,
it's
it's appearance.
appearance. It's this brand new category now.
Well, no,
'Cause it's
because they
something
did
they
the
can do.
1000 of Action Comic and Detective, but the
that
thing
was
with Batman was that
issues.
Batman wasn't in the first 27 issues.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Comic.
That's why they're
That's why it's his 1000th appearance, and then they had they're gonna find numbers for everything now. Just to, I mean, is anything special happening? Is
this
there?
might be a key.
It's a giant. It's the same thing as what we just recently read.
I'm probably not gonna buy it.
I mean,
Andrew, send me a message in Discord because I think I might have 2 copies of 86.
Are they gonna have? Are they-
85. He wants 85, not 86.
No, because
Oh,
after that he
86.
said it could be 86 because I can read.
Well, I was working on your fucking profile picture.
85 is the old. No, I own 2 issues.
85
So it
is
has
the end
Peter-
of.
Peter
It depends on-
Tomasi, Brian Michael Bendis, Matt Fraction, James Tynan, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Marv Wolfman, Grant Morrison, Tom King, Scott Snyder, Dan Jorgens, and Mariko Tamaki are all the authors. And Mariko Tamaki's issue has Dan Mora doing the art.
I'm not gonna buy it.
You're totally
In a
right.
similar aside, is anybody aside from me and probably Todd reading Legion?
Legion. Oh my god.
If you're not, you should go pick up this week's book because there were like 15 big name artists in it, and like the very last page is here's who did which pages. So like Dustin Wynn had a couple of pages, like
the Marvel
Yeah.
book?
no, Legion of Superheroes.
Well, you
Yeah.
just said Legion.
Sorry, but
Yeah.
he's Legion of Superheroes.
Okay,
I
yeah.
assume that's what he meant, not the
Yes.
Marvel book that.
Because there's not an ongoing Marvel Legion.
Well, there
Legion of
might be. I don't know. I don't read Marvel books.
That's fair.
I
I
know
wish
Legion has
Legion
a
from
TV
Marvel. Legion from Marvel. That run was like maybe my peak Marvel. I fucking loved that book, and the covers, maybe some of the best covers that have ever come out. They're so fucking good. But no, Legion of Superheroes. Yeah, that's a
Brian Michael Bendis book.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be. It's going to be one of those books that people are like weird about.
But you should go check that out because it was the most consistent that many artists have felt at one point in time.
I agree. I'm almost done with this, so I can be more persuasive.
It's okay. I'm paying off.
Yeah,
Some
well,
stuff
that was
on
literally
that.
like, wasn't it supposed to be a new artist every single page?
It's either every page or in a couple there are 2.
Because I feel like that's you're saying that it worked.
It worked.
Okay. Because mostly I would assume that would not work.
Yeah, it doesn't.
When
It sounds like a camel.
Yeah.
I mean, well, and I was looking at two because it was like I think Jeff Lemire, Dustin Wynn, and like Joel Jones were like three names that were all next to each other, and I'm like, I don't know how. Like, I mean, they all have very different, like, distinct style of arts. Where it's just like, I don't know if that would run together, and I mean, if it did, that's great.
No,
They could do
it
something
worked,
like that.
and while I thought this run of Legion would be better than it is, like it started out real strong. I think the last two issues have just kind of been but the way the art kind of, you could subtly notice differences, but it wasn't like so Spider-Man Full Circle came out maybe in like last November, and it was every 2 pages the writer and the artist changed, and you could feel the violent shift in it.
Yeah, that was rough.
It did not have that problem. Like, it felt like a normal number of folks on a creative team had it all together. So
yeah, somebody was actually guiding them.
Yeah.
Versus like, hey, have fun, guys.
Well, Full Circle, I think, was supposed to be kind of chaotic because it was literally like the game of telephone, where I don't think the person, if we were writing one of those right now, I don't think everybody knew what everybody else had written or was going to write, which makes it some manageable chaos.
I didn't read this, but loosely 3 years ago, maybe 4, maybe 5, there was a Commandi challenge that came out where they had a different creative team on all. There were 12 books, and they had a different creative team on all of them. And at the end of the issue, that author artist told the next author artist what they thought would happen after this, and they just kept going and made that, which I don't know how Commande really goes, but I think that was kind of a thing that happened with him. Whereas here's a handoff, you do this or whatever.
That could be cool.
It also could be terrible.
I read the first issue, and I don't think I like Commandi.
Well, there you go.
I mean, it was like a cool thing that was happening, so I was like, I'll get in on this. And I read the first issue,
I'm going
and
to
I
talk
was
about
like,
this for a few minutes, and then also be like, this is terrible.
I think people like Commandi, though. I mean, it's a Jack Kirby thing that he brought to like DC, and it was like this cool new adventure thing. But and I think too, the hard thing is when you have a book like that that's written by a person like that, sometimes people maybe try to not change it enough and just keep it trying to do what it did years ago. I don't know.
Anyways, I think it's time to wrap this burrito up. So, thanks for getting wrapped up with us. This has been Comic Burrito, a live stream.
I'm
Todd.
I'm Cole.
And I'm Nick.
I'm a side of queso.
Yay! So thanks for getting wrapped up with us. Have yourselves good nights. Be well. Be good to each other. Humankind. Whatever. Todd's butt count is at 69. This is the highest the Todd butt count has ever gotten to. Cole's just spamming the banner button. Yeah. What, Nick?
I said order the OZ.
Yeah, go check, or just go check it out on Kickstarter.
Yeah, the first 12 pages are there. If it doesn't intrigue you,
buy it and then tell
maybe you don't like good stuff.
Maybe you're bad at comics.
Tell all your friends to buy it.
But yeah,
Tell their friends to buy it.
Thanks for getting wrapped up with us.
Buy it.
Hit that like, subscribe, whatever that